fitting, ladies and gentlemen. You know, everybody's getting ready and excited for the kickoff of the NFL season over the past couple of days. We've been kicking off the new season of Sportswire Radio, and what a last couple of days it's been, especially after yesterday's guest, a man that actually works in this guest promotion, the TF Crew. We're going to definitely talk a lot about that. We're going to talk about our guest has been everywhere. I mean, I've seen him in countless places. Last I checked, he was Tennessee, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, his own promotion, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Boy, am I going to get into Massachusetts, and who knows, whatever else. You've certainly seen him also in places like GTS. Who can forever forget about his match with Grimm that everybody still talks about, and all the stuff. I see him on TikTok all the time. He posts these magical moments or maybe bloody moments out there. I share it, I repost it, and also he's got a new Patreon channel, which, oh, by the way, I'm a subscriber for it, and I technically am owed a welcome video, but we'll not hold that against him on that because, after all, he's here live on Sportswire Radio, and he has done so much here for us over the past year. We're also going to talk about his ring-in match also at Death Row, where maybe it involves somebody that was just on this platform that maybe may or may not have been a person that is, well, let's say an owner fellow of a company also in Massachusetts. We'll certainly get into a number of topics. I'm sure some usual suspects on this platform will be spoken about, especially when it comes to Tennessee. And certainly maybe I'll get our guest thoughts on what Rad Dad had to say, and who knows, whatever else. It's always a treat to have this young man on here. He is truly one of the up-and-comers right now in the underground and the independent wrestling circuit. And he has come such a long way. It was a couple of years ago. He was just a streamer on Twitch, and now, well, he's one of the biggest streamers around when it comes to the TF Crew. Their most recent show is closing in on 700-plus views already. What was it out, 24 hours ago? And he's got so many great things in the pipe. I need a scorecard to keep up with. We're going to try and do our best to keep up with here tonight. In prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters here. And it's time to give our guest, since we are kicking things off here, to start the season with that introduction here that he has gotten so many times. But I really want to make sure he gets it loud and clear, because I know there'll be some in the state of Alabama, some in the state of Massachusetts watching this, some wherever else he lives now, and who knows, whatever else, to get that introduction that he deserves. And boy, I can't wait to give it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. So, we're done! Without further ado, here on the Sports Report. Number one, Gabe Sports Show. You've seen him in countless underground and independent wrestling promotions over the past several months in places such as Pro Wrestling Venom, the UWF, NEW. I'll certainly get to that. Tournaments such as the Riot in the Ring, the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament, this little old company called GTS, and his own company that he owns, which is closing in on 2,100 subscribers on YouTube, and they had a highly successful show closing in on 50 likes alone on YouTube. Death Row for the TF Crew. He's a Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer. His name is, simply put, the Stopper, Gabe Gabe, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Ask me after the show's over when I'm still trying to recover from my voice. But that's a different conversation for a different time. I even got a new USB cable for you tonight because I had a feeling I was gonna blow out my microphone tonight because with Rad Dad, it was hanging on by a thread. But tonight I wanted to kind of start new. You might want to say start new because I could certainly see some of those individuals are here and obviously, first of all, how you been? And You've been quite a man traveling with frequent flyer miles, I can quite say, all up and down the United States of America, I see.
I'm exhausted. Yeah, my poor car. My poor Honda Civic. That '07 Honda Civic is a workhorse. More of a
Wow,
workhorse
you
than
have
I
an
am.
'07 Honda Civic still. God bless you.
I love her. I love her to death. And she only got like 110,000 miles. She's a workhorse. She's a tank.
Wow.
4 days. I spent 4 days a couple of weeks ago where day one I shot down in New Jersey on a Thursday, competed at GTS, got to compete with some of the best at GTS, had actually one of my favorite matches at GTS, even though it was a total clusterfuck, but that was like the best part of it. It was the best clusterfuck you could ever ask for. I loved it. I shot back up to Connecticut that night to get ready to go on Friday, then to Massachusetts. Friday, Saturday, spent my time in Massachusetts. Had a crazy tournament. I cannot
I heard a
spoil
little bit about
anything.
Massachusetts. I think I know a little bit about Massachusetts.
I cannot spoil anything within the tournament.
Yes,
I
please
just
do not spoil. Please do not spoil.
Spoils, but I can say that all wrestling does matter, and I took skewers in my head to represent that opinion that all wrestling does matter. After that Saturday, I shot back down to Connecticut that night. Now, keep in mind, from about Massachusetts, Connecticut is about a 2.5-hour drive.
Yep.
Shot back down to Connecticut so I could wake up early in the morning on Sunday to head down to Pennsylvania to get ready for UWF. So I'm tired. My car has been through the ringer. I've been through the ringer. I worked something like 5-6 matches in that 4-day stretch.
Holy shoot.
Yeah. And I got a couple new scars to show for it.
Well, first of all, how's the car alive still? That's forget about everything else today. How's the car alive? That's my question.
Hey, listen, I'm religious with that car. I used to drive around a minivan, and that, OGs or my fans or people that used to know me would know that pussy wagon I did not take care of. And then I got another car, did not take care of. But this Honda, I am religious. Oil changes. I've got new tires put on that bitch. I am religious with keeping this thing as mint as possible because it's kept me safe throughout all my travels so far.
Well, I hope it can certainly continue that, and we hope that you can get around with the car. But there's so many ways I can go with you to start. I mean, there's literally so many people on this platform that have connected with you over these past few months, and there's a lot of names to go with. But I guess I'll start in the current events. I think I'll go with Death Row first because I think Death Row is a really successful show, and I was really impressed. Rad Dad made a great point because we went on the air right after the show. Literally, it was like 2 minutes after the show ended. I was on with Rad Dad, and just to me, the production quality, the content, even the commentary. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you want to talk about professional commentating. I mean, you got that and some. Just really overall a hell of a show, and that's why I'm really happy it's done as well as it's done. So I think we'll start off here before I get into your match, which I think will involve at least one usual suspect on this platform. That might be a suspect of something that they may have done to you. We'll get to that, but I guess I'll get general reactions first. Finally, we get a chance to see Death Row. It was definitely worth the wait. So for those that are listening and watching here, in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform, World Wrestling Matters Sportswire Radio, talk about just how you feel about the overall success and Death Row coming out and anything else you want to share toward it.
Death Row coming out was a beautiful thing. I know I took a minute with it, but I did that on purpose.
I'm happy you did that because there's some promotions that you've worked with before that you had a match with two people. They put out stuff like a month later and they've got no audio, no nothing. And you wonder why they don't have the following that TF Crew has. I
took my time with it and I was very slow with it because I was also kind of like testing and experimenting with things at the same time. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I am working towards making the TF Crew obviously like the best product possible. So taking my time with commentary, taking my time with the editing, taking my time with even the promotion of it and just the hyping and the building up of it being released was a big reason I think it's doing so well. We'll take the North Haven Massacre, which is one of the most popular videos on the TF Crew YouTube channel right now. North Haven Massacre sitting around 2,000 views, but 24 hours after the North Haven Massacre was released, it sat at 450 views, which is great.
Broke that though, and some though.
Yeah, 24 hours after Death Row was released, we were sitting at around 600 views. So obviously there's a growth, there is an increase, and I think that's for good reason. I really went hard on the editing. I do all the TF Crew editing myself. I am starting to finally outsource to people who are trying to help me and see the vision that I have that are also trying to continue that. So I would like to shout out actually a really random name. Stefan Havoc has actually been really
Okay, I know
helpful.
Stefan. Yes, he's actually the only New Yorker technically in my Hall of Fame in Sportswire history.
Yeah,
I
so
know Stefan
Havoc,
Havoc for a long time. What a small
shout
world.
out to him. I hope he sees this at some point. He's actually really helped me with some like the transitions of TF Crew. And the best thing I could say about the editing and the production of the TF Crew shows, you guys really haven't seen anything yet. Again, in collaboration with Havoc, in collaboration with myself, and I'm never one to stick with mediocrity. I'm never one to become complacent in being good enough. I'm improving the editing. And so the next episode, I can't believe we're already talking about an episode of Unhinged. But this next episode of Unhinged, not only is it a banger episode that I can promise you,
Good.
the editing in it, I think, is the best I've ever had for an episode of Unhinged. I began teasing and testing that editing style with the Battle Royal pre-show that was released
we
for
were
Death
talking
Row.
about this a couple of weeks ago when you released some different things. You were getting my opinion on certain things, the Battle Royal, and yeah, I really feel that does stand out most in that what you guys have. Leave aside the content in terms of the variety of wrestling, you guys definitely have a nice little sweet spot there, but there is something, a visual feel conceptually, and I think that's why the company has grown. I think that's why the viewership is what it is. And I think it's better to take that approach than rush to put something out every week where, there's little promotion of it, 4 or 5 people watching on a YouTube, and, take your time with it and make it an event. I think that's probably the better way. It's like if you're a fan of music and you're a fan of a band and the band sometimes releases to put out new music, but the new music isn't as good, I would rather them wait, take their time and put out the best performance or the best songs so I can hear it on the album. It's the same thing I think what we're seeing with TF Crew right now.
Right. You want to see the best product possible. And again, another shout out to Stefan Havoc.
Yes.
We have brand new nameplates coming now. You've seen the default TF Crew nameplate. It says TF Crew. There's a little bar. It's a perfectly fine nameplate, and I've used them for years. But Stefan Havoc and I collaborated together to create new nameplates that are unique to each wrestler. So you are going to see something.
That's unique. That's very unique.
Really. So we're trying, like I said, we're pushing for this. The transitions between matches, between segments, even the promos and segments, I'm now being anal about. We need top tier quality, or else I'm just not going to put it in. I frankly don't care. If you give me a half-ass product, it's not going to go in my product.
Please. There are some federations that come on this platform. There are some of them, and I hope that they hear that, because this is, thank you for saying what I can't say on the air, because people will say, oh, he said that. Thank you for saying this. So seriously, because there are some, they should really take note to that.
Like I said, I told them, no more car promos, guys. No more just like you're fucking blurry in your backyard and it's evident you're in your backyard. You're trying to do some cool gimmicky shit, bro. Like that, it just doesn't go over anymore. It's not. No more. Listen, I'm not saying you can't be entertaining, and I'm not saying you can't be goofy, because I'm actually emphasizing the entertainment and the goofiness. But you need to do something different. There's no more. I'm sitting in like the fucking, the front seat of my car driving down the highway from work, and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 I'm gonna kick your ass on this day, and I'm like, no more of that. Give me effort, and I'm going to give it back. So, like I said, I hope you people are really excited for this next episode of Unhinged, because the debut of the custom nameplates, we have the debut of just this whole new editing style and this whole new filming style as well. I'm going to give somebody, frankly, I dislike a lot, but frankly, TF Crew is a team, it is a family, it is a production. The Puerto Rican twink, Angel Santiago, he thoroughly actually has helped come up with, he actually does go to school in Miami for film. Is we have a new filming style for these Unhinged matches as well that's much more in your face, a much more personal style that lets you really see more of the wrestlers. For example, on these custom nameplates, when I describe custom nameplates, for me, mine says, Gabe Sayers, the heart stopper. It transitions between a graphic with a heart. My name pops up and out. It's really fucking cool. For someone like Joe Star, who represents Puerto Rico to the max.
Joe Star's here Saturday afternoon. What a great
I love Joe Star to death. Joe Star's name pops up with the Puerto Rican flag rippling behind it. Every person has a unique nameplate that is individualized for them. And yeah, I can't say enough great things about Joe Star. What a great talent. And frankly, this isn't like a big breaking news thing, but I will say, it hasn't been released yet, but on this episode of Unhinged that is to be released, the match card should be coming out tomorrow, maybe tonight. Okay. Joe Star actually has a chance to win a TF Crew contract against Caster.
Wow. What a small world. And Joe is here Saturday. What a small world. Boy, somebody really must say, boy, Joe's coming on. Let's make sure. I really don't think that's the case, but thank you for saying these things. I really think that people should hear this, because if you're doing a YouTube product, these it does matter, quality over quantity. I think there are some
Yep.
obviously promotions that get that, and others I think should take advice. And I think that's why the company is doing so well. But before anything else, if you are here on YouTube for the first time, I know some of you might be hearing about Gabe for the first time. Let's hit that sub button for TF Crew. And I want to tell you why you want to hit that sub button, because right now they're just about at 2,100 subscribers. So they're at 2,090 something. So if you're here right now, you haven't subbed to TF Crew, go hit the sub button for them. And I'll tell you what, if you hit the sub button for them, they get to 2,100 subscribers. I'll give Gabe a certificate congratulating him for that. So he's almost there. Let's get him there. I know people here for the first time hearing Gabe. There's a whole list of new people that have come on to Sportswire Radio the past few months since Gabe was here last. It's been obviously a great crew that has been here. So definitely make sure you support the TF Crew. And again, hit the sub button, because I see a whole bunch of people that are here for the first time tuning in. So make sure that you do that there. So we're excited about that. Unhinged, I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, I am a part of the Patreon channel. And before I get into Death Row, Patreon channel, we got to make sure we hit that plug, folks. I'm going to put that up also here coming up.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so you're definitely going to be seeing that episode of Unhinged before everyone else. So
I actually try to, like, sort of the same thing with your brethren in Massachusetts. I don't watch the spoilers. I actually legitimately don't watch the spoilers. But I do give you the, the donations per month. So
I appreciate that. Of
You're
course, I
welcome.
appreciate that. And I always appreciate you viewing it, and that's why I even came to you with that Battle Royal episode where, listen, say what you want to say about the Battle Royal. It had its moments. It was sloppy. It was, it wasn't a perfect Battle Royal. I'll be the first one to admit that.
What Battle Royal is, though? Let's be honest. There's no Battle
I agree. Right, exactly. But I came to you for your opinion because I wanted to see what you liked, what you didn't like about the new editing style, the new narration style. And that's because that's the only way that you can do it. Is in life, you have to experiment with things. You have to go wrong with things until you can find the correct solution or something that really fits and works for you. And that's something that I was doing there. I reached out to you. I reached out to a couple other company owners. I reached out to some more traditional fans, even people who are not even in the business at all, just fans, being like, hey, what do you think about this editing style in comparison to our previous videos? Because I'm trying to compare, contrast. I'm trying to experiment with something that, even if let's just say it doesn't perfectly hit the niche and get us 1 million views like we're GTS, that's okay. As long as the core fans are enjoying it, as long as I enjoy making it, and as long as there is story, I'm happy. That's what I want.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's why you're a very successful individual. And I do want to actually, because I have it up here very shortly, I want to make sure people, if you'd like to see a little bit of what TF Crew has to offer, please go out there and support them on Patreon, because I actually have it right in front of me. So I'm going to take this off the screen, the beauty of technology, because we've improved a lot since the first time you came in, because I know how to do the share the screen. So if you'd like to support TF Crew, that's the TF Crew channel. So check them out here. There you go. That's some of that there. So yes, I subscribe to a bunch of other promotions, but this is TF Crew. This is their Patreon page. This is what you see. You have a number of different things you can get a chance to check out, information stuff. I'm not going to share all of it here with you, but you can see some of the stuff, obviously, some of our champions, some of our friends that have been on the poll. So all you need, $5. It's $5 at this point. I mean, I'm in New York City, and it's basically $5 for a slice of pizza. You can't spare $5 a month. Let's support those that support us. I don't need the money, but certainly guys like Gabe who are in college, they're busting their tails out there traveling. He just told us with a 2007 Honda Accord, for crying out loud here. I mean, let's go out there and support those that support us. There's Gabe. Yes, he does some stuff in GTS. Yes, I know when you see him on screen a lot of places, he's, obviously, doing a different type of character, but this is a different platform here. But we love Gabe. We love everything all our wrestlers have to offer. We'll definitely talk about September 21st in a few minutes. I'll definitely get into that. Very excited about that. I know Rob O'Malley's been here. He spoke about that. Eddie Exile. I'll get into some of that. So let me take this off the screen, and let's come back. I know a lot of people want to talk to you in the chat, but let's go and talk about Death Row itself. So I'm going to go put this back on the screen. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to take this off the screen, and we're going to go and take the volume down. I'm going to go to your match, especially because, well, you're here. That'll kind of tie into a few other things. So let's put this fast way through the match. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's talk about the match. And obviously, Gabe, you want to follow him. He's also on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all those other great platforms as well. So there we have it. We're here. You're wrestling a man that obviously you've got some history with now for the past several months, and Mr. Jeff Nova. Jeff Nova, and a man that's another I've been everywhere man, to quote Johnny Cash, and tell us what we're seeing here for the audience.
Right now, we're seeing my match with Jeff Nova that premiered with Death Row, and me and Jeff Nova have an extensive rivalry that has now spanned through NEW, through TF Crew.
Yep.
6 months after open heart surgery, he punched me really fucking hard in the chest, dropped me in the middle of the fucking ring at the North Haven Massacre show, and this match is the product of that assault. And so I gotta say, you mentioned something about character, how people see me do different character in different places,
Yes.
and I thought I'd elaborate on that point because I think that's a good
Please.
point. I taking a small step back from the character to almost elaborate and explain a little bit of it is I do the same character everywhere, and it takes a deeper understanding to see how no matter where I go, if I'm a coined babyface, heel, whatever you want to say the word is, I am still Gabe Sayers no matter where I go and everywhere I go, frankly, because Gabe Sayers is a zany teenager who feels emotions like any human does. In a place like UWF, where they call me twink, they boo me, they yell at me, they throw shit at me, why wouldn't I react negatively and fucking play into it? Why wouldn't I get mad back and fucking thrust my dick in their face? Why wouldn't I, truly? Or in Connecticut, where I'm cheered, people are happy to see me in Connecticut. Why would I react negatively to that? I appreciate the cheers. Gabe Sayers is the same character no matter what company I go to, but just like a real human, Gabe Sayers reacts differently to different scenarios, different situations, and different environments. So again, in RPW Tennessee, yes, I called them dirty rednecks. I told them they're all inbred, cornbread, whatever you want to say. But listen, I feel I love the South, but they're all inbred. Listen, I go down to North Carolina every year. My family's then from the South.
You could get away with saying that. On this platform, I speak with people all over the world. So I take the cheap politician route and say, I love everybody, every promotion and everywhere. You can get away with that because, well, you're Gabe Sayers and I'm not. But it's, fascinating to watch. I'll say that much. I can't agree with it because I love every state and everybody that tunes into the platform. But I hear you. I understand.
Yeah. It's, and I think that's the beauty of what the character is. People, well, yes, I am a coined babyface in GTS. I don't like those terms because at the end of the day, my character is just human. Okay, at GTS, I actually started off, not so liked as I was feuding with Grimm's wife, Tina, but things happen. My experiences at GTS made the fans start to love me as they saw the defiance, they saw the heart I had, and especially in that match against Grimm, which really set me as a quote-unquote good guy. It was the experiences of Grimm bullying me for my dead mother that really people were like, oh, wow, I feel
and
for
to
this
have
guy.
that
I'm
stage,
cheering for this
we
guy.
talked about that when you were here last time, to have that stage.
Right.
And to be, and even just sharing the ring with Grimm. I mean, that's just, a monumental moment as well because of the amount of people that got a chance to see the match.
Right. Exactly. And I can't agree enough. And that's why Pro Wrestling Venom now I'll say, people have not exactly loved that Pro Wrestling Venom, but can you blame me?
You got your issues with Dirty Ron over there. Yes, I've watched some of the Pro Wrestling Venom.
I got assaulted by a fucking clown. Do people expect me to be happy and jippy and come back like, yeah, everybody? I got assaulted by a fucking clown, dude. What the fuck? Like, how do y'all expect me to be happy?
I did appreciate the invite to the show in July. Unfortunately, I am here every night on this platform, and there are people that would probably have a heart attack if, like you may get a heart attack. Sometimes the heart stopper. People would actually get a heart attack if I wasn't on Sportswire one evening. So,
I agree. No, I absolutely agree. But it's a beautiful thing. I'll spin this back to this match at Death Row. A lot of people picked up on it on this match at Death Row, which really made me happy. Was that usually you see a much more zany side of Gabe. I'm out even when I'm
it was not at all. It was not what
I was very serious.
Yep.
Yeah, I was very serious, and that just shows how mad Jeff Nova makes me. I was so passionate. I was so in the moment, and all I needed was to hurt Jeff Nova to get some of that revenge back on Jeff Nova. That frankly, I wasn't pulling out all the theatrics. I wasn't doing all the funny stuff, the goofy stuff. I wasn't goofing around, frankly, because I know the threat that is Jeff Nova. Jeff Nova is one of the best professional wrestlers right now. And so I can acknowledge that. And I could go, yeah, maybe I would go fuck off or goof off in another match. But this match right here, this is a true blood feud. These are two people that fucking hate each other. I have slapped Jeff in the face. I've spit in Jeff's face. And Jeff has done the same to me. We are two men that just don't see eye to eye. We fucking hate each other. So I'm not going to come over here and I'm not going to bullshit. I'm not going to giggle. I'm not going to pull jokes and crack jokes like I normally would in most of my matches. No, I'm here to hurt Jeff Nova just like Jeff Nova's here to hurt me.
Well, I mean, we're seeing a hell of a match here. I mean, I asked Eddie this question, and I'm curious. I know we've spoke about Jeff before. I've had other guys that have spoke about Jeff, but I'm going to get to that individual in a second. I think it might be an individual I know, but what makes him then such a wrestler that can bring out a different Gabe Sayers? What makes him that kind of wrestler?
What makes Jeff Nova such a fucking little sadistic little prick is the fact that he is so just oblivious. He thinks he's like this little perfect cosmic prince in this little space land. Dude, we're on Earth, all right? We're wrestling in the PAPW facility, all right? Like, come on, bro. You're not out here fucking destroying planets, zipping around on a spaceship. You drive a stupid little minivan, all right? Like, fucking get your head in the game, dude. He has never seen eye to eye with me because he wants to be just like every other little indie wrestler, and just like some of those indie bookers that are like, oh, you can't take that booking. I said you can't. He wants to be just like, hey, doesn't like the death match. Oh, you're killing the business, kid. Oh, well, go fuck yourself. Who are you to tell me who I am and what I am to do? Me and him have never ever seen eye to eye, and with somebody, you can challenge my ideology, and I love when people challenge my ideology because I love having civil discussions about it. But Jeff didn't want a civil discussion. Jeff wanted a fight about that, and that's how it started in NEW, and now it's been brought to TF Crew, and frankly, it'll go anywhere and everywhere. Jeff Nova is an inconsiderate prick who only thinks about himself. Right now, I am here to not just make a name for myself, but I'm trying to make a name for all my friends. I brought Caster to GTS, to UWF, to LTW. I am bringing my friends places because I truly care about them. And listen, I can admit, me and Caster don't even see eye to eye. I'll say that, but I still bring Caster places even though we don't see eye to eye because we can have civil discussions like that. Frankly, Caster invaded my show. You saw that in the beginning of Death Row.
Caster invaded my show. Well. Yes, Caster. I think I spoke to Caster off the air. I feel like
did I throw Caster out?
No, sir.
No, I let him into the match. You want to know why? Because I am a man that cares about people. And yes, that gets me hurt. An example for this Jeff Nova moment, I am being a man that cares about people, but that's life right there. And I would rather die caring about people than live as long as I could just being a fucking hermit of a human and not caring about anyone. So, Caster, to spin back to Caster for one last second. Yes, you invaded my show. Yes, you're a giant pain in my ass. I'm frankly going to be a pain in your ass. And, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to be a pain in your ass, but I still care about you. And I'm going to prove that I care about you very soon, Caster. So I want you to stay tuned to that.
I want to, there's an individual, I want to come back to him in about 5 or 10 minutes. Plus, I have something for you I have to share for the audience. We'll get to that. But what happens, though? We see Mikey Anarchy, a man that obviously you have a well-documented, long-time relationship with, and he tries to come out there, but you sort of reluctant here and such with Mikey, and you do shake hands and hug, but what was about that? Was it in the heat of the moment? What was that all about there with Mikey Anarchy?
Just like I mentioned before, I am Gabe Sayers everywhere I go, no matter what. And that was, I felt true confliction in that moment because I wanted to finish that match with Jeff Nova by myself. And I had to think about it. Am I more mad at Mikey for trying to prevent me from having having more injury? Or am I more mad at Jeff, who was the one being malicious trying to cause that injury? And so, yes, I did take a moment to reflect. I did take a moment to push Mikey away because I am the type of person when I feel extreme emotion, I do need to step away. I need to think for my own. But the moment the clarity hit my mind, I go, no, Mikey was just here to help me and protect me.
So and he was, and listen, and he had a match in his own right. He was the main event of the show, and he was watching it, and he felt the need to help his friend, a friend that he's been through thick and thin. That goes back to even before you were even a wrestler. That just shows the relationship that the two of you have. And I know in different places, sometimes you're on different sides of the coin, but the truth is that you and him have been through a lot, and he was just trying to help a friend in need.
I describe it like this. Even at UWF, where my antics are at some of its highest, we had.
They don't like you in the UWF, and
no, they do not.
There's a fan of Jeff's, by the way. There's a fan. Of Jeff. There's a fan.
They don't like me at UWF, and even then, in the beginning of my match with Mikey at UWF this recently, I think it was June 30th was the match. We still had a small handshake in the beginning. Listen, we are different people, but frankly, our feud, frankly, just talk about it. My first ever feud in wrestling was against Mikey Anarchy. Yep. That feud bonded us together. So no matter what.
On Twitch, remember we talked about this last time you were here. It goes back to Twitch, and that just really shows the history that you guys have. It's years, really. A years-long battle in times, you may want to say.
And so, frankly, just like everything, we may disagree, and you never know. A new chapter could be written in that story of a disagreement, and something could happen with me and Mikey. I don't anticipate that happening, but I'm honest. I'm an open person. Humans fight. People who love each other fight. That's just what
Sure,
happens.
sure.
But me and Mikey Anarchy respect each other at the end of the day, and me and Mikey Anarchy watch out for each other at the end of the day. And again, that's all he was doing. I literally went to battle with him 15 days later after this match, but we still had that respect, and we still were able to have that war. And that's all part of the game of professional wrestling. I don't think there'll ever be a day where I shake Jeff Nova's hand though, and I say that he's a friend, and maybe I'll go help him if someone's attacking him after
Well,
match.
you're
That'll
taking a
never fucking
different
happen.
approach. Eddie Exile, even though Jeff Nova's kicked in Eddie Exile's teeth, he'll say, "Oh, it's my little brother still. Oh, it's my little brother still."
Nope.
But Eddie Exile loves everybody. Eddie Exile, I mean, he would, even if somebody was beating him up, he would say they love him. But I have to come back to something else before I get to some comments, because there was there was something here that I want perspective on, sir, because obviously I'm wondering if you thought you might have knew who this was or this was. I'm trying to pull it up here. We'll come up to it here. I think it's a little bit before. No, I think we're good. I think we're going to come up to it again, because I want to ask your opinion on something, and just more or less, what did you think, or what did you, I don't know, think about this individual in particular who, more or less, I guess, did something to you. I don't know if it was something, related to, I don't know what it was, but you remember what happened in that particular moment or such?
I do. I had been dealing with the shenanigans all match of the fucking, Jeff's butt buddies from the fucking gay bar, all fucking interfering in the match throughout the match.
No comment on that, ladies and gentlemen. No comment. We're not commenting on that, but yeah. Go ahead.
And I knew exactly who it was. People, who the fuck was that? What the fuck happened? I frankly knew who it was.
You do?
I have taken that pile driver before, and I know only one man gives that style pile driver. So I knew exactly who it was and what had happened. And I know why it happened, frankly. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand. A lot of people don't understand the why. And it's because Jake is just like me. Jake Dvorak is a hungry competitor.
I don't see his face, though. Are you sure?
I've taken that pile driver before.
I understand that, but there's a lot of people that do everybody's moves. And I was just watching one promotion where the man I'm wearing a shirt of was going to do his opponent's move. I mean, there's no guarantee. I mean, are you sure again that's that individual? Because I didn't see his face, by the way. I just wanted to say, and I have to be objective in this, because we still have to be objective. But are you sure? Because I only see a hood there. I don't see a face.
I guarantee you that is Jake Dvorak. And in fact, to prove that guarantee to you, on the next episode of Unhinged, I'm going to call out Jake Dvorak. I'm going to let my thoughts be known towards Jake Dvorak. And I'll give you a little hint on the things I'm going to say. And things I'm going to say is I understand why he did it. Okay, obviously, there had to be some sort of payment from Jeff, because Jeff, even though he drives his little minivan, he does work his little government job and makes a good couple bucks. There had to be a payment from Jeff, but at the end of the day, Jake is just like me, chasing the biggest opportunity, chasing the biggest fish. And right now in Massachusetts, he is the big fish, but when he comes down to Connecticut, he's no longer the big fish. So he comes after me because.
But you're guaranteeing that this is Mr. Dvorak. I just want to make sure, because I want to make sure I give everybody's side, because a couple days ago Anthony Steele was here. He said some things, and the guys in Iowa, they didn't like that I gave him an opportunity to speak on it, and then they were saying this and saying that. So I want to make sure, because I didn't see his face.
We will find out if that was Jake Dvorak, if he's man enough to answer my call out on this next episode of Unhinged that you'll be seeing very, very soon.
I'm looking forward to that. That's for sure. No question.
And frankly, Dvorak, like I said, I understand why he did it. And listen, I'm upset and I'm mad, but like grown men will fight. That's how grown men settle things. All right, guns down, knives down, fists up.
But you worked in Massachusetts. You've been a part of their things. Do you think there was anything you did, if it is Mr. Dvorak, that would have made Mr. Dvorak lash out the way that he did? If you say that it is Mr. Dvorak.
Me and Mr. Dvorak never saw eye to eye in Massachusetts, but I can't say that there was a ton of direct hatred back and forth between me and Mr. Dvorak. But if I was in his shoes, I would do the same exact thing. If I'm being honest. If I had the opportunity to get paid to attack somebody who's very well known in a region and be able to go to that region and do it,
I agree with that. Very well known. Yes.
Why? At that point, why not? which is just like there's no reason not to. So frankly, I understand why I did. And just like if we do run into each other in that All Wrestling Matters tournament, frankly, and I mean this with all due respect, I'll shake his hand because I respect what he did. I respect attacking. I respect making that challenge. But the thing is, Jake, if you're going to make a challenge like that, if you're going to cost me a match as big as that match against Jeff Nova, I'm not going to confirm anything. You'll have to hear my promo on Unhinged. But I will hint to this, is I don't want a wrestling match with you, Dvorak. No ring, no rules. There's a certain city called Elm City, and I want to see you there. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
I've heard of Elm City, but okay. I mean, so I guess we'll have to find out. I mean, I will certainly put some TF Crew links up there already. I do see that I will get to Mr. Dvorak's comment first. He's got a bunch of them. I'll get to the most recent one. I didn't see the camera angle, though, of him in the outside of the ring, but you're guaranteeing it. I happened to, when I watched it, I didn't see the camera angle of him taking off the shirt. Did I miss something on the hood? I didn't miss anything. I don't know. But I mean, does he know something? I don't know. I think he knows my policy. He's been here more than you recently. No spoilers. But okay, well, we did watch it, but nevertheless, you did come up short against Jeff Nova, and you still have to figure out where to go from here. And let me get to the very, very beginning. We got a ton of comments here. People are very fired up. I can see a lot of people here now because everybody, they were watching XCW tonight. They had WCE on. They had TBW on. So people are now, they're digesting that all of that's over. So some people have come in, and we'll get to some of them. Yes, hello, Zilla. Thank you. We appreciate it. This individual is related to James Taylor. He'll definitely, I'm sure, have something to say. Want to say hello to Mr. Hillbilly Tilly from the Alliance Wrestling League in Alabama. Howdy, fellas. How you doing, Hillbilly? Nice to see you. Mr. Rob O'Malley, I'm going to definitely come back to the September 21st show. I know he's a huge part of that. We'll definitely get into that. And he says, let's go. And I appreciate that. Speaking of, I'm really excited about Joe Stark coming here on Saturday. I got to be honest. I've had a lot of guests on recently, but this one I'm really excited about because I think Joe, he's got some charisma. He's got some ability. I just watched what he did to Justin Abel Sane. I've been seeing what he's been doing, and I'm excited about Joe's ability and his ability to talk on this platform. So I'm really excited for Joe Starr. I think it's after NEW season finale coming up. So it'll be somewhere around 5 o'clock or so. So it's a big day on Sportswire. I got Joe Starr Saturday, and then I've got Chris Jones, who just wrestled his last match against Justin Parsley. So it looks like his last match. I don't want to put it, and then everyone's, I'm back in the ring. Yep, well, that individual, I'm going to come back to him. That is Mr. Dvorak. I mean, that's Mr. Dvorak right now, because that's there's no mask on there, but that is Mr. Dvorak. Yes, let's get to some more comments. I see, I want to get to my friend, Mr. Ace Reed. Now, Ace Reed's important because he's from Australia, the land down under, and I don't know if you know this, he is looking to come to America. He has saved up enough money next year. He's got about, I guess, $1,500 or $1,600 our money, and he's looking to go somewhere. He's looking to go to a couple of different places. Mr. Dvorak's promotion came up, a few other promotions, TBW, ROW, I'm sure some others, IMF came up, so a bunch of other great promotions. I support all of them, and he says something to you, though, in particular. Say, Gabe, when I come to the U.S., any possible chance we can go one-on-one in a death match? What would you say to this young Ace Reed who was kind of in your shoes a few years ago, and he wants to now come to America and basically check off his bucket list of wrestling here against some of his favorites, and apparently you're one of them now.
Lucky me. Frankly, the young man from Australia seems like a nice enough kid.
He looks like you. He does look like you, kind of.
Is he 18 at least?
17, but could be 18. Don't quote me because I don't want to, because I say something here. It's not like other people, they can go live without it. I have to be back on Sportswire tomorrow. So, I mean, I think he's 17. I think 17.
Tell him, I'll let him know. I was about to say, tell him.
I think he's 17.
He can hear it right here from the horse's mouth.
Maybe he's 18 next year. I don't know. I don't want to put words in people's mouths.
He can give my phone a ring. He can find a time.
I'll connect you. You know what? As I do always, I'll make sure Mr. Reed gives you a contact, and you guys can figure it out. I know nothing about this stuff. I know nothing about wrestling. I know nothing about anything except getting to the chat. Yes, thank you. James Taylor's in the house. Well. Look who it is. How'd that stunner feel in the last moment we had in the ring? Just kidding. How are you, brother? So he just wants to say hello. He was kidding, but James,
he's a little goofy guy, huh? Yeah.
He's the one who got the pin, though, right? Anthony Steele got pinned by him. You didn't get the pin, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'll move on. I'll definitely come back to James. I definitely want to come back to James in a little while. And James says, I definitely want to come back to James. I do want to say a little to my friend Comatose. Comatose has been one of my favorites out there in beautiful Roseburg, Oregon, via Idaho. He is from BTW. Names like RJS might be a name you might want to think about in a little while, because I know there's a bunch of stuff you're working on in the works, and he's actually wrestled in the state of New York. That'll be important later on. RJS, Jacob Frost, a bunch of guys that have been big names in the yard. He's a part of their company. It's afternoon his time, because I think he's like 3 hours behind. So that's why he says hello. Mr. Raddad Radley Belmont, the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, a member of your roster, and boy, what an honor it was to have Raddad here. And I have another great honor to have on a man that's a huge part of the GBYWN. He's a part of the main event coming up here in the late end of September 28th to 28th, Mr. Rick of Golden Triangle Media. He's going to be here to talk a lot about the GBYWN days. And Raddad is here, and he had a lot of nice things to say about you, and he just wants to say hello.
I love Raddad to death.
Yes,
I respect Raddad. And I could say that I when I say I'm excited to face Raddad, it's not in this big we hate each other and I want to go beat up Raddad. It's the big thing is I love Raddad. I want Raddad to beat me up, and I want to beat up Raddad. I'm very excited for that. I think that match is going to be fantastic whenever it finally happens, and I'm really happy to have Raddad on the roster. He was one of those veteran signings for the TF crew that I think is really helping bolster this roster, because yes, we have a lot of young up and comers. We have a lot of guys on the independent scene that people have never seen before, but having someone with the expertise and with the knowledge of Raddad, I think that really just bolsters the roster on the camera and behind the camera, frankly, as a coach, as a mentor, as just a wrestler.
Oh, I think his history, another name, just a great veteran, like you said.
Raddad has mentioned before that he's getting his first true singles run at TF Crew for the first time in independent wrestling. And there's a lot of things that need to be crossed off Raddad's list within independent wrestling. And as long as he comes in, shows up, puts in the work, and comes in with a smile, I think he crossed a lot of items off his independent wrestling bucket list at the TF Crew.
I cannot wait. And obviously, he's a man that has wrestled the Rock and Roll Express. This is a man that has done so much, and he has been really the godfather of the backyard wrestling circuit. So it's to me so fitting, because TF Crew blends in everybody, I think, from the independents, the hardcore scene, the up-and-comers, the undergrounders. So to have a guy like Raddad, such a fit, and obviously he means so much to this platform, and because once upon a time, all those years ago, he was the host of the Global Backyard Wrestling News, which led to the GBYWN, and some people I don't agree with it say that this platform is basically born out of that. I think they're two different things, two different movements, and there was only one Rad Hazard, and there's only one Raddad, and I think we're extremely excited to have him here and a part of the TF Crew. And speaking of people that actually know each other from the GBYWN, the Riot and the Ring winner, who also is one of your champions now in the TF Crew, Mr. Doc Holliday. As Gabe Sayers goes, so does Doc Holliday, I suppose. And I can't blame you.
Listen, Doc. The Doc is like to me. He's like a father figure in my life that doesn't want to admit he's like a father figure in my life. So Doc may say ew, but
love Doc. He's another one of the elusive people on this platform. We just, for whatever reason, it doesn't quite connect. I know.
I got you. I promise. Probably. I would say more towards my winter break, just so I could have my setup down at my parents' house.
Yeah, no,
totally. But I'm gonna drag them.
Don't worry. There's plenty of people in the backyard in the underground circuit that are waiting their turn. So it's not the end of the world. But Doc, I would say, is like number one. If I would have somebody to come on here that I would like to see, it's probably honestly. It's Doc, and I'd say Nova, but because I know you hate Nova, I'm just gonna go with Doc. I'm gonna stick with what keeps people happy, so I'll go with that. But yes, I saw Shane Davidson's return in Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. He helped their new tri-state champion there, Mr. Chaotic himself. So there you go. We'll come back to that. Thank you, Shane. Welcome back. He'll definitely be talking about that, I'm sure, when he's here tomorrow. And also our TriStar champion. I stand corrected. There is Mr. Big Man Cam. Mr. Big Man Cam's in the house. Do you know Big Man Cam at all? You ever met him? I don't know why I feel like you haven't met him or have met him. I can't keep up with people. I need a scorecard.
We've interacted online. We've talked. We've shared some messages back and forth. We've never met in person. Big Man Cam is a hungry competitor, and I respect his hunger.
He's very hungry in real life. Very hungry.
Yeah, he's a big ass dude. Of course he is. I respect his drive, and I just need him to stay healthy so we can really see that drive go full force.
Yes, we're all hoping he comes back and comes back to Sportswire healthy and definitely we say hello, and he's really as big as Bigfoot. He gives me cameos, so we appreciate that. Yes, I'm looking forward to Joe's here on Saturday and TF Crew. We love TF Crew. Nicholas Crenton's in the house. Good evening, Reverend. Good evening, Mr. Sayers. Thank you, Nicholas, for tuning in. Nicholas was a part of earlier today's TF Crew, not TF Crew, WCE Tim Mecca show. TF Crew. I'm like, whoa, that's this Rad Dad, but okay. A lot of names, but we say thank you, Nicholas Crenton, for the Tim Mecca tribute show at Black and Blue. Rob O'Malley's in the house again. Mr. Rob O'Malley, another guy, TikTok influencer, sort of, and Puerto Rican Power Baby represent, and the state of New York represents here. And there you have it. Rad Dad is motivated to one day get to the top of the TF Crew. That's what he said. Rad Dad said it. Definitely. Speaking of people that would really fit almost like a glove in the TF Crew, Justin Parsley. He is the PWF champion, which is 1/3 of a company I own. And he's been making a name all over the world. He's been making a name in places like Michigan, obviously in Iowa. He's been giving them fits. Seen on this platform a couple of days ago in his own company, Indiana, just put on a hell of a match. Summer Bash. He's pretty much all over the place. And yeah, he loved the Death Row show. And he looks like a guy, I guess I'm going to say I would love to see him in a ring with Rad Dad one day. I would love to see Justin Parsley and Rad Dad in a ring. I see a lot of similarities, although one looks like they might have been Dave Coulier in Full House. The other one looks like they might have been David Spade. But I think one's got a better hairline, not saying much for the other at the top, but in their ring abilities, they're definitely at the top. That's for sure. And I don't know if that's a possibility one day, but I would love to see Rad Dad and Justin Parsley in a ring. So, just giving ideas, but that's okay. We love Puerto Rico. We love New York. I love everything. I love everybody. There is the Tri-Star champion. I said the Tri-State champion because I'm thinking of the Tri-State area, but the Tri-Star champion. By the way, hell of a match there, Chaotic put on there in TBW Summer Bash show. He defeated a man that's on my show every Friday, Alan Michaels, because of Shane Davidson, another man who's on my show every Friday. So I'm just going to say we love all three of them. Congratulations, Chaotic, on the win. And Chaotic is the measuring stick of Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. And I hear through the grapevine, he's looking to go to different places. He's another guy there that I would love to see if he could find a way down to Connecticut. There you go. So you never know. I got a lot more comments here. People are fired up. I knew that. Big Man Cam is now on X because we're on X right now. And his son music. So what music is he listening to right now? That's a good question. I have a good question, though, from Comatose, though. Who in your circuit, Mr. Sayers, has pushed you to put everything you have into a match? I think he meant to say put everything into a match. Who has pushed you in the circuit to push you in a match wise?
That's a great question. I'm gonna move my answer. I have a couple, I'll say frankly. Okay. There's some people I wrestle and it's just very easy, it's very simple. And there's some people where I know I have to push myself to kind of match their level. And I would say Mikey Anarchy is one of those people who I would say I have pushed myself actively every time I face to try to one up, to try to do better, to try to do crazier things. Gangsta X, I would say. We shared the ring a very short time recently on a UWF show. But he is somebody that I am actively looking to face in singles competition because our interaction in a multi-man match really made me go, all right, this guy, I'm
did
doing
see some of that. Here. That's a good one. That's a good name. It's a good name.
Number one, Jeff Nova.
I knew you were going with Jeff Nova. I knew that was happening. I just knew Jeff Nova.
I have to pull out the dumb shit for Jeff Nova. I mean, nobody has seen me pull out a Code Red too much, but I pulled one out on Jeff Nova. The match fit for the Code Red to get pulled out. So,
okay. Well, Jeff's a great talent, and whether you like Jeff or not, in the ring, he's got an immense amount of talent, and I could see great names. And Mikey's been here, and Mikey's a fantastic talent, and we'd love to see more of all of you guys. But Joshua Allen, a man you saw in the Resurrection Wrestling Revenge Rumble, how about that chokeslam? That's what he'd like to say.
Yeah, how about that chokeslam? Every day growing up, as I got onto my regular size school bus, I'd look out the window of my regular size school bus, and I'd see the short bus also passing by, and I go, you know what? I go, one day I'm going to do something for one of them kids. One day I'm going to do one of them a favor. I see Joshua Allen in the Rumble, and I'm like, you know what? Today's that day. Here's a free favor, buddy. So, hey, listen. Yes, you got your chokeslam off, and listen, hey, if that's what it takes to open the door for you to come pay me a little bit to come down to Tennessee. That's what it is. Or not Tennessee. What am I saying? Texas. Sorry. States that start with T got me all messed up.
Tennessee. No, it is Tennessee. You had it right. TBW. You're correct.
I thought they're out of Texas. No, I'm thinking of what's that?
ESW.
All right, there it is. All y'all damn rednecks just mashed together into some big conglomeration of states. So I'm damn close enough.
Well, I would say that we love the great state of Tennessee, and that's Gabe's opinion only. Let's just put it that way. But he's entitled to that because he's been to those states. But I do love all of our states and everybody that's tuned in, every promotion that comes here. Regardless, Jeff makes everyone mad. Although Eddie was like, yeah, he's beat me up, but I still love him, though. But Eddie's Eddie. Eddie was even getting hounded by Rizzy and was still saying, well, but I still like him and I still respect him. So, I'll get to Eddie in a little while. And Mr. Dvorak pretty much did say what he wanted to say, which was, you're correct, I suppose. That's me. But, yeah. Best pile driver in the business, Jake Dvorak. We love Brent as well. And the man that's always referring to you every time he's on the air, a man I'm sure that you might share some opinions with, but we'll leave that at that for a different time and off the air. But the man, Mr. D Savage, the man that always hounds you about these the Chinese restaurant experience with the noodles. So how's the turntables?
Listen, Savage, I got something for you, buddy. So we'll be in talk in the next few days. I got something for you.
Well, maybe you have something for his man bun because he was here back with the man bun on Saturday.
The douche knob is back. Lovely.
Well, that's again only Mr. Sayer's opinion, not ours. And Doc laughed. We have a lot of comments here. Let me get to them because I do have something for you I have to present on the screen soon. Jake was at Bible study, so it couldn't. I haven't even been to Bible study before. I'm a reverend. Even when I was in religion class, I don't think we ever had Bible studies. I highly doubt that Jake was. If I haven't been to Bible study, I doubt that Jake's been to Bible study. This is again, we love Bible study for those out there. I have not been to Bible study, so that tells you anything. Cameron Cage, Emmanuel.
Cam Cage.
Say about you. Yep, he had something to say about you on Tuesday's show. Mr. Revenge Rumble, Mr. Rumble himself. He says hello. I will come back to that for sure. Chaotic again. How you doing? Crazy me. Jake does call himself crazy. Yes, he does. JRW Wrestling. How you doing, JRW Wrestling? If you're here, please hit the sub button for TF Crew. TF Crew is almost at 2,100 subscribers. And if you're here also on this platform, hit the sub button for me because I'm almost at 900 subscribers. I'm literally a couple away from 900. So thank you, JRW, for tuning in. And I appreciate you coming out here. Thank you for that. Jake, bring a shaver to TF Crew next time. Give Gabe a haircut. But your hair's not long. Your hair's not like mine. Your hair's not long.
Listen, Bren, I like you, buddy. I like you a lot, buddy. Mr. AI graphics. I like you a lot, buddy. Yes. I respect you. But that's what you do. You stay behind the camera. I'll stay in front of it.
But he does great work with designs. Maybe that's why he's just focused in the lab. He's always working in the lab. I mean, Jake knows about it. Jake's benefited more than anybody else on that stuff.
No, I like him. I like him.
We do too. No, I've spoken to him off the air. He's a great guy.
I'll make fun of him, but I like him.
Well, okay. Well, I appreciate that. But Jake did say that he's going to bring something worse for you instead of a hair scissor, I suppose.
Great.
I'd like to say hello to Mr. Dalton Skull, who I believe was in the Revenge Rumble with you. Dalton Skull, who's been a man in many places. He's the BYCW champion now. And didn't we share a locker room once?
Yeah, that was the RPW Rumble right there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the RPW Rumble. We I don't think we ever talked, so I don't know.
Oh wow! Well, he spoke a lot to Steven Stone, who was Silvestri, that it basically said a few expletives that I couldn't repeat on this. But you could get away with it, but I can't get away because I'm even noticing now on Sportswire, people where I live are like, I watch Sportswire now. I'm like, okay, good enough. Yeah, I'm getting that now. I'm starting to get that, which is I don't know how to take it, but we'll get to Jake's next comment. Maybe I'll bring my boy Hiroshima with me next time. And he gives the emoji there. Hiroshima actually may be coming to Sportswire soon, by the way, because I actually spoke to Hiroshima. He wants to drop some Hiroshimas on Sportswire. I thought it was funny, too, because I'm trying a career stand-up comedy. You can take over Sportswire because you want to do podcasts and let you take over instead. Because you said you want to do a podcast. You can take over. I have a lot of subscribers. You get a lot of views off the bat. I'm almost at 900. So, I mean, you'd be getting views. So, you probably get more views than me. So, now you don't have to worry about starting a podcast. Let's get some more comments. I have a lot of people want to talk to you. I'm healthy in less than 2 weeks, Gabe. It's definitely time to plan. Big Man Cam versus Gabe Sayers. I'm facing everyone by the end of next year. It'll be this year and next year.
Listen, I wish you nothing but health, and I get it, man. Professional wrestling is a world where everybody grabs their dick and they try to piss upwards, and they keep pissing until they try to hit something, and they try to climb that ladder. And big man, you may be big, but obviously your Johnson isn't very big because you're still pissing up in this world. So, big man Cam, I respect it. And frankly, I respect it enough to say that you find a company, you find a place, we can create a time. So, Cam, you want that match? That's a match I'm willing to have. That's a match that I am not only willing to have, I'm excited to have. And listen, I don't think anybody's ever going to fly as well as I could around you because you're the big lumbering guy.
I'm gonna make you laugh here because I do have something I want to share with you, but I have a lot more comments. People are really fired up. So Big Man Cam does these cameos. So I'm actually, if this does happen one day, what I will actually do is I will buy a cameo because Big Man Cam's on Cameo, and I will say, Big Man Cam, this is what I want you to say. Hi, this is Big Man Cam, and I'm gonna wrestle Gabe Sayers, and I'm gonna lose to Gabe. I'm gonna lose to Gabe Sayers, and Gabe's gonna beat me with the Heartstopper 1, 2, 3, and listen to Sportzwire or something like that. If it really does happen, I'll make sure that I'll give Big Man Cam the money for the cameo, and he'll have to record it because that's the way it goes on Cameo. So
that's perfect. I love that.
Now Big Man Cam's like, I'm going to go on Silver Wolf show only. But let's see what else is in the chat. Can't wait. I am excited about the NEW season finale, and I'm very excited about Joestar. Come on. I'll be honest. We had a lot of people that come on the platform for the first time, but he is one of them that I'm like, I have not been as excited for a first-time guest here in a long time. And Joe, I know, is going to deliver. And Jake certainly read my mind. Big Man Cam versus Silver. That's where, because that's his last podcast appearance on Silver Wolf show. And he'll continue to say, well, I said this, that he won't sell those chops. He would love those chops. He's Big Man Cam. That's what it is. But Chaotic wants to say hello to you. We're doing good. Love the shirt. Halloween season is not as crazy as it sounds. We're not too far away from Halloween. Today is September 5th. It's crazy. I'm still in my shorts and t-shirt. I was just in the pool, but Halloween's not too far away. Yeah, way to make some fat jokes at my expense, fellas. Less than 2 weeks, I'm good to go. Keep your eyes out. Big Man Cam does not like the fat jokes.
I love them, so it's all right.
Boy, I know nothing about this comment here. Can't wait for Parsley to get off the trampoline and show up at AEW. I know nothing about anything of what those two things said. Otherwise, the only thing I can comment on is that Justin Parsley is 1/3 of the PWF championship, which I own, and he is technically my employee for 1/3 of that. And Mr. Parsley, I would love to see him wrestle on a trampoline and maybe bounce off that trampoline into the state of Massachusetts. I am sure that maybe somehow, some way, the man that might have the resources to pull that off to get Mr. Parsley to the state of Massachusetts, if the two parties would like to agree, or you might be looking with the man with the microphone that could do that, or the man who probably could buy almost every promotion that you might want to think of, with the exception of maybe, well, I guess WWE and AEW. Is GTS for sale, and how much? Because I think I could buy that company. But let's move on here. On a real note, it was a joke, by the way. On a real note, I can't do trampoline wrestling. I respect the drive, but I would bump and rip through. Get it? Big guy goes to the trampoline. That's the joke. But bump. He's listening to Hispanic nursery rhymes there. So that's my Sportswire background music tonight. Joe Starr could probably do more bars than that. Loved your match at Resi. Would love to square up at least once next year. I'm going to get to that. There might be a will and a way. I got a lot of comments. I'm still trying to get them. People really want to talk to you tonight. People are fired up. They get more. I think each appearance you have here, more people want to talk to you. Wow, short yellow bus. Okay, well, I see you can have stand-up comedy when you have something to fall back on, say. There you go. You got to watch.
I agree. Once the heart gives out, once my ticker stops ticking and I have to retire from wrestling, I always know I'm going to go the easy way, and I'm just going to tell shitty jokes in front of bingo halls. So yeah, I'm always happy to create backup plans for myself.
Well, if anybody wants some jokes, when I was doing a lot more political stuff, when I was doing that work, I would actually go to bingo halls, and actually I didn't quite play bingo with seniors, but in order to help the candidates I was working for, because obviously this mutton chops really worked. Not really. I would go and actually sit there and while they were playing bingo, and I would, so I do have experience with bingo games look like. But let's move on. We're not playing bingo on Sportswire, but bingo is his name. D Savage is here. It's okay, Gabe. I appreciate you. D has become a monthly regular on Sportswire. You'll see him after season finale, and I'm sure he'll have more things to vent about as long as he has the man bun on.
I love Dick
I've got
Average.
I got some exciting news for you. Okay, well, tell me what the news is. I got more comments here. I'm on. Oh, see, all right, I'm liking that. That's why I always like Doc. Also, Big Man Cam is too busy giving the please. Move on, please. TF Crew, Sportswire Radio. Thank you very much. And if you want to say anything to Gabe, let us know. A lot of people had tuned in. So, yes, hit the sub button for both. They're almost at 2,100. I'm almost 900. Maybe Gabe will become the owner of Sportswire. You know, somebody actually wanted to buy Sportswire Radio from me about 2 months ago. It was actually somebody that wanted to buy it from me. And I was like,
what was the offer price? Come on, give me the reveal.
I mean, probably, well, it would have been worth something, but I'm like, I don't need the money. I mean,
Give me I'm gonna say a number. You say higher or lower. Okay, that's all. That's it, and then I'll stop. All right.
Let's go for it.
$100.
Higher.
Okay. All right. Listen, I just expect because I get the messages all the time. Like, I'll buy TF Crew for $25, and I'm like,
no, higher than that. The person that actually is like it's a somebody in the world. It was actually
okay.
It's not $10,000, but it was a lot more than $100. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right. Substantial amount of money. I like it.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't need the money. I have I have 10 times that in my pocket right now. I mean,
right?
Not,
Yeah.
You know, I don't need it. Thank you very much. My mother was like, though, you should have sold it. I'm like, for what? You wouldn't tune into Sportswire anymore. So there you go. But that was a funny joke. It's copy that Savage. I was trolling Savage and Big Man Cam. Let's go away from the big boy jokes. Oh, now they seem to like each other. Well, let's move away from that. Now I love the fat jokes. I make more than anyone. Acting offended is funny. Speaking of people that have changed, and you shared a locker room with him and D'Angelo the Flame. I mean, the energy of wrestling, the real raw energy. Anything you want to say about D'Angelo? And can we get him to Connecticut, or is that maybe only Jake Dvorak owns his contract?
I thoroughly enjoy D'Angelo the Flame, and I think D'Angelo the Flame is a smart man. D'Angelo the Flame is picking and choosing his battles, and I think he also understands that sometimes you got to know in this world where your bread gets buttered. And so there have been preliminary discussions about getting D'Angelo the Flame to Connecticut, to the TF Crew, and as those conversations continue and those conversations ramp up, I think D'Angelo the Flame is somebody that fits the mold of the TF Crew perfectly, of the underground darling, yard to pro, social media base, doing it themselves, traveling. So I'm incredibly excited to possibly share a locker room with D'Angelo the Flame for not only a third time, but in a third different state.
I would love to see that. And obviously, I couldn't agree with you more. D'Angelo is one of those guys that everybody seems to love. He's got great talent. He's the All Wrestling Matters World Underground Champion, by the way. This platform has a share of that, obviously. And D'Angelo has been one of my favorite people to have come around with. Speaking of people from my home state, a man that you obviously shouted out earlier in the show, Mr. Stephen Havoc. How are you doing, Stephen Havoc? I speak with Stephen very regularly, and you really broke the fourth wall and spoiled some of the things that Stephen did, but that's okay. We'll give you a pass.
He won't mind.
I know Stephen won't mind for sure. I love Stephen. I've known him.
When I line Stephen's pockets, you know what I mean? Everything's right in the world when your pockets get lined. So trust me, he'll be okay.
Thank you for letting us know. I have more comments here. Let's get to it here. Gabe drank some of my Kool-Aid. Now he's under my spell. I do have fond memories of my mother when we were growing up in Brooklyn in the summer. She would make Kool-Aid. I remember it. I remember I'm old enough to remember having Kool-Aid in the summer. She would make Kool-Aid, and it was in this big silver pitcher, and we had Kool-Aid, and it was great.
I will say Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday is one of those bizarre things in the professional wrestling world. There were those vignettes released of Doc Holliday invading my dreams that was released on 2 separate occasions, and it makes me feel a weird way towards Doc Holliday. I will say that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for letting us know.
That's the most I can elaborate right now on that.
Okay, well, I got people just really want to talk to you right now. I'm like,
what can I say?
You're turning
I
into
like talking to people.
Territory. You're turning into Aaron Blaze, Anthony Steele, guys that come on here holding court. You're like getting loads of comments. Yes, I made a mistake. Who I thought this was, it's I believe one of the referees in Resurrection Wrestling who says hello.
This is a very nice young. He's a very nice young man from Wrestling. I love Jonathan. That's a
Yes.
dope guy right here.
I met Jonathan through Total Effing Chaos, Mr. Will Carroll, who was here a couple weeks ago. I know it's going to be at your show. So I'm still going to get a chance to promote. So I'm going to get to it. And he says hello. Yes, we know each other very well. And Big Man Cam, is that Silver Wolf or is that Big Man Cam? D Savage, we have to battle though in the ring. I got to add you to the travel list. Is that Silver Wolf though? That looks Silver Wolf to me. I've had Silver Wolf on my platform. I think that's Silver Wolf.
He's looking at two different things. I'll let you see what that is then.
I'll buy the TF crew for $25. You sound like you were impersonating Jester. It did sound a little bit like Jester, by the way. Big Man Cam will be the travel guy. Well, is that Silver Wolf to be the travel guy for sure? Just let me know. Big Man Cam, I'd love to join you. Well, don't join Silver Wolf there. Chaotic, you already know that possibility. Thank you. Okay, I've gotten finally. It took me about 35 minutes. Actually, one more comment. All right, one more. I'm traveling now. I got to look in all the directions. So yes, I see it, and I see those eyes. But speaking of eyes, apparently, Gabe, I've received this message, which I was about 35 minutes late in giving it. And we have a lot of people here tuned in. They want to see it. So, Gabe, I have to put this out here to the announcement for those that are listening and watching here in prime time that you have been invited to this thing called the Backyard Havoc in beautiful Bremen, Ohio, which actually was born on this platform a couple of weeks ago. It's the same home as Summer Bash. It's with a great number of companies that are a part of it, which is All Legendary Wrestling, Big Man Cam's home promotion, ROEW in the state of Michigan. We've got DKW, which is the home of Summer Bash, and also members of ROEW. Darkron is the man that owns the property that Backyard Havoc is going to be hosted on. XCW. XCW, of course, is the gold standard, people would say, about the backyard wrestling circuit, 21 years in. Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, the mothership, some would say, and also in our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Can never forget about our dear friends in Iowa. Obviously, Iowa has been the place that everybody seems to go to and the place to be. Despite what Anthony Steele and Justin Parsley might have said about the foundation, the people still seem to love going to the IMF. And some guy with the logo there. But you've been invited to this thing. It takes place November 9th to 10th. It's in Bremen, Ohio. And you're going to see more information coming up here. It's Backyard Havoc on Instagram and TikTok. And it's obviously being sponsored by the great companies of DKW, ALW, ROEW, TBW, XCW, IMF. And you have been invited to this, apparently, Gabe. And Rad Dad was invited yesterday, just so you know.
Oh, I'll wait for the wire transfer to hit my bank account. And when it does, I'll wait for the. I could just watch the paper trails. I'll let the paper trails do their thing, and I thoroughly appreciate the invite. It's and if you want Gabe Sayers there's always a way to get Gabe Sayers there. You just have to fuck around and find out.
I'm sure that the proprietors and the people behind that event, I'm sure can figure something out. I know that obviously Rad Dad was reached out to yesterday, and we put a post up here for it when Rad was here. So we're really excited about that. I got some great talents already announced for it here. We've got the Evil Angel Judas. We've got Jason Storm, Big Man Cam. We've got Darkron, Matthew Forsaken, Justin Parsley, Omen and Soldier. We've got, I think, Il Drago, Isaiah Rage. We've got Remy Ravage. I know Remy Ravage. He was invited, Remy Ravage. Justin Parsley is obviously invited to it. A lot of people have been invited to it. So there you have it. JRW comes out of the shadows. Welcome back. Yes, absolutely welcome back. I think because I've got a good comment from Jonathan on it, let's talk about it because you have a show coming up here, and it's on September the 21st, and it's actually a show. It's with almost kind of like this here, conglomerate of companies. I want to put that up on the screen for the audience because I think Jonathan's got that question for it, and I want to talk about it here for the audience because I think I have the poster right here. So we're going to take care of it because I actually do have it right here. So let's go with it here first. We'll go with the poster here coming up. And that is the TF Cruise show. It's with, again, our friends over in a whole list of other promotions. You got from the Hardcore Hangout Volume 1 in Amsterdam, New York, which is Rob O'Malley's hometown. So talk about what we're going to see with Saw. And it's actually 2 weeks from coming up to Saturday. So how excited are you coming out here to be back at this event?
Hardcore Hangout is going to be a really fun event. I think it's going to be an event that is reminiscent of like the TF Crew Backyard Bash, our first ever show, in the aspect of we'll probably be sitting in a backyard, but frankly, it's all about the talent involved. And as you can see when you scroll through this card, there is a wild amount of great talent involved within this card. To name a few, I mean, looking at this main event itself, Hardcore, Richard the
Anthrax. I
Madman.
mean, Anthrax is a huge deal in the hardcore scene. I mean, Anthrax follows me on Instagram. He's a big deal.
You got, some great names within the deathmatch scene, the North Korean Assassin, Cass Valentine's a legend in his own right.
WZW names, a lot of WZW
Yeah,
names.
I think but one of my favorite parts about this card is the underbelly of the card. Talking about matches like Eddie Exile and Rob O'Malley. I think those are
Oh
two
man,
guys
we've
that
been
have
talking about that here
history.
for weeks on Sportswire. Absolutely.
Right. I think that matches like Jeff Nova versus Leroy Robinson
Oh, yep.
are,
I know Leroy.
and I think something a match that I'm really excited for, and not to be biased, but because I'm in it. Me and Chris Jackson are going 1-on-1 in a 2 out of 3 falls death match. Listen, I was able to pull some strings, and within those strings pulling, listen. I know I can't get my hands on Jeff right now, but the next best thing is his next little butt buddy. So Chris Jackson, me and you, gonna tango for the first time in our career.
It's exciting. I mean, just what a card. I'm going to pull up the poster with Eddie and Rob O'Malley next, but just another show. Almost in a way, it's kind of like the end of fall, summer, start of fall, and I mean, just a really exciting thing in Amsterdam. And obviously, with a lot of history in Amsterdam. And for those that know, obviously, the WZW history and such. That's a big territory there. It's a really, really nice, place to go out and watch some wrestling.
I absolutely agree. And I think one thing is I'm going to be paying homage to WZW. I was able to wrestle for WZW once in my career, and that was one of the best experiences of my life. And no matter if it was yard, underground, however we want to describe it, it was a fantastic time and a fantastic place. So I'm excited to be back.
And we're definitely excited to see the event. And also, if you'd like to, it's TF Crew for more information. I'm going to put the TF Crew page up because I had the poster, but Eddie X has like 1,000 posts on his Instagram, and I can't seem to find the post. But we'll come back and put the regular one up just so everybody sees it. But if you want to go out and find out more information on the show itself, I would highly encourage that you do it here. And it's very simple. And it's right here. I'm going to put it right back up. So I know we got a bunch of things to talk about here with Gabe still in the next 45 or so minutes. But there you go. You have it there. And Hardcore is supposed to be back on Sportswire. And I see John's here in the chat. He's on. And Anthrax is a legend. You got Eddie Exile and Rob O'Malley. That's a match we've been talking about here for weeks on the platform. And I'm very excited to see it. TF Crew Instagram page. For more information, anything we can do, Total Effing Chaos is going to be a huge part. And they have been just all over the place. You want to talk about people that have been traveling up and down the country. That is going to be a banger of a show. And also, I stand corrected. Thank you, Big Man Cam or Silverwolf. Il Drago isn't confirmed. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. My apologies. But definitely excited about this here for sure coming up. Okay, I have to ask you a couple of other things. I know people in the chat hang on for about 5 or 10 minutes, but I want to talk about the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament. I think it's a good time to talk about that. And obviously, we're going to watch it here next weekend. I mean, I'm very excited about it. You were a huge part of the Riot in the Ring. The Riot in the Ring was a really successful show. Doc Holliday, a man that is in your promotion and sits near the top, is one of your champions. He's actually the Riot in the Ring winner. And All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament. Without going into any details, I mean, are you excited for people to watch the product, what you've done there? And there's some really good matches that people get a chance to see. And without saying too much, sir, what is your opinion on what we can see here coming up for the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament?
I think a good way to put it, and to put it in simpleton terms, is NEW may sit inside of a backyard.
They do. Yes.
Maybe not every single talent has been fully professionally trained.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that NEW is ran by professionals and treated professionally.
I agree with that.
I will give credit to NEW management. I'm not going to say them by name because, frankly, they don't deserve the free name drop. But I will say NEW management handles and runs their things incredibly professionally, and I give them major kudos for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate NEW for that.
Yes.
And their professionalism within running and their them maintaining safety. So that I truly do appreciate that. And to draw back the curtain just a tiny bit, just a smidge, an inch. You know me,
yes.
I'm forever Gabe Sayers, no matter what. You'll never not hear Gabe Sayers.
I appreciate.
But to draw back the curtain in the most tiny inch, NEW is one of the few places, and it's becoming one of the last places that I'll wrestle for free. And the All Wrestling Matters tournament only cemented that. it only just built upon that foundation of NEW is pretty much the last place that I will fully wrestle for free, besides something like a GTS or some other major crazy opportunity. Um, as it was announced, I was facing Drew Deeney round one. Drew
Yes.
Deeney, he is a nice young man. He's inexperienced. He's green. He's greener than baby shit, but that's okay. Because I had fun, he had fun, and we were safe. That's what matters.
Good. Good.
And I'm excited for people to see his entire tournament. There were some crazy things in this entire tournament from TF Brew talent, NEW talent,
Yes, I
from
think
so many different
Caster's there.
states.
Christopher Black. Christopher Black's a guy, by the way, I have been speaking a lot with off the air, and he is just a fantastic talent as well. Another guy that I
Yep.
think we're going to see on here before the year is out. I speak with Chris very regularly, and he and I speak, and just another guy I'm really excited for people to get a chance to see on the TF Crew talent.
Yep, I can't agree more. Christopher Black is he is my prodigy now. Listen, I don't agree with the route that he's taken within his
Yep.
learning of professional wrestling, joining the syndicate, and
Yes.
going this route. I don't agree with it, frankly. But at the end of the day, he's still my prodigy, and I still care about the kid. And I'm very excited for that time where we do finally have that singles match where I could show him that I'm still daddy and he is still son. But I'll push past that for now to say I'm incredibly excited for this tournament to come out. I had a ton of fun within the tournament, and there is some blood spilt in this tournament that I'm very excited for ICC to see.
Well, I am excited about it because I've been talking about this here on Sportswire for the better part of 2 months. And, we've had a lot of different people that have been on this show. Mr. Dvorak has obviously been here many times. Mr. Savage has been here. A few other individuals have been here. Justin Abel Sane has been here. Tyson Spade has been here. So and the Surge has been here, well, in cameos. So, I mean, we certainly are going to see a lot of some really good talents that I think it's going to be just as good, if not better, than the Riot in the Ring. And we know next year the Riot in the Ring is already taking place, Best in the Yard. So we'll have to find out if we see you there once again in those places. But any thought real quick you had on NEW obviously is getting ready to kind of end their platform next season. They have another season or two to go. They're going to obviously end it at the end of next year. I'm sure you caught the news. You have a thought or two on that? Because obviously TF Crew and NEW, I feel like you guys are almost like neighbors in a sense. So you have a thought or two on them and kind of where they're going with the future of the company?
My prediction, and this prediction, I'm saying this like I want everybody to understand this. When I say this prediction is not like something where I talk to Jake about it and I'm like, spoiling something. Like this is just truly my prediction. Nobody has said anything to me about this. Like obviously, I've known that it was going to be closing in stores soon. I think that they're gearing up for a big rebirth. That's genuinely just like literally
I know nothing about that. I be honest, what was
me
on
neither.
here off to me off there. So I don't know, and I don't get into business of any promotion that comes on.
Right.
I am very by the book with that.
Yeah, so I'm just telling you what my prediction is, and like it's not like Jake said this. It's not like there's been mention of this in a group chat. I frankly, I'm kind of pissing in the wind, and I'm going to see if I'm going to hit something. My opinion, I think it's gearing up for a big rebirth, a big like professional aspect, maybe like a legit venue, stuff like that. Okay, you might say legit venue, just something indoors. That's just what I think is going to happen.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, listen, please, IMF is going the route. I mean, you're obviously in the PAPW arena. I mean, DBW's been here. They've gone indoors for a long time. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, if it's something that it's up to those guys. I don't know.
Obviously.
I don't know what's in their minds, but I mean, I think they should. Their shows are getting better and better. A lot of the guys have come on here, really all good people. Like you said earlier, without naming names, they all run it in a way. It's a professional manner, very easy to work with, open collaboration. I mean, there really isn't anything that they won't do. So, I mean, like I would love to see them continue, but again, it's up to them. It's their call, and I don't get in the business of any promotion with that.
I absolutely agree, and I think this is a good time for me to almost transition this a little bit. Something that I've never even told you about, Tom, but I want your live reaction because a live reaction is a very genuine reaction.
Yes. Oh God.
And it's something that I'm working on behind the scenes right now, and it's a conglomeration. It's a group of companies that are kind of cut from the same cloth, as I'll describe it, and it's something I'm working on behind the scenes of taking companies I'm gonna name a couple so we can understand
All right.
the aspect of yard to underground to pro, yard to pro,
Thank you
underground
for
to
doing
pro.
that because some people don't understand where that line goes. Okay, let's go. Let's go with it. I'm ready.
I want to take companies like a TF Crew,
Okay, underground.
like an IMF, like a say an RPW,
Okay, underground.
like say an NEW.
Underground.
Let's say a I'll even say a UWF at this point. Um,
Okay, UWF is really a mix of underground indie. Okay, all right. We'll go a little further closer to the line of indie. Okay.
I want to take these companies, and I feel like we need I'll just say the word. We need an alliance. We need a grouping together where we talk about, hey man, I run IMF. Man, I could use some talent for this show. Oh, okay. I can, there's a whole group chat of us. Oh, I got a couple guys that are willing to travel. Oh, hey, I'm at the TF Crew. Hey, I need some guys for this next Connecticut show. Oh, I got some guys that want to travel. We need, as underground wrestling companies, to band together. And now, no matter what happens within the TF Crew's production or what we do, and listen, we could act like, move like, talk like an indie. I'll probably still call us underground. I call us an underground independent wrestling federation because at the end of the day, we are born from the underground, even if we treat ourselves and are professional at this point, are professionally trained. But I feel like these underground companies need to band together, need to all help each other because as a man in the chat, Doc Holliday once said, in professional wrestling, you cannot just level up by yourself. It takes two to tango, it takes two to wrestle. So we need
100%.
to level up together. We need to come up together. So taking companies like the TF Crew, like NEW, like IMF, like RPW, like UWF, these companies that have started in the yard, and now push towards
Work
this
their
more
way up.
professional product, we need to work together. We need to band together. And the only way we're actually going to be able to become something is if we do this together.
Well, I think
So,
also that we're here with Gabe Sayers. Of course, Gabe's is the heart stopper. You've seen him in so many other places: UWF, GTS, his own promotion, TF Crew. You've seen him in Resurrection Wrestling. You've seen him in Pro Wrestling Venom, a slew of other promotions. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. Please go out and support the TF Crew on YouTube. Hit that sub button for them at TF Crew. Also, we're here on Sportswire Radio. I'm almost at 900 subscribers. I'm like a few away. So if you'd like to hit the sub button for me, I'd appreciate that. But, I think that is a good point because wrestling years ago was born through the territories. You had the NWA that worked with the WWF, obviously Mario Mancini, Paul Roma, no firsthand about that. You had the AWA, you had Mid-South, you had all these promotions. You had the old UWF way back in the day. You had all these other promotions that got a chance to collaborate with each other before Vince McMahon came in and spent all his money and, kind of changed the way what that was. But there's no question that I think that if you have promotions like IMF, promotions like NEW, certainly your company, Resurrection, the UWF, Pro Wrestling Bennett, all these, we throw in more companies if you want to throw in anyone you can want, WZW, whatever it might be, WTW. You just fill in, pick them out. What's good about this also is that these are places that are across the country. So it's not like, for example, hey, I'm in Connecticut, the individuals in any Doug, you don't want me to mention them, are in Massachusetts, Rezzies in Tennessee, and IMFs in Iowa. So you're getting everybody that's around the place. So what if somebody might want to travel and take a shot, and then you can go out there and see who some of the best talent is. And what that also does is it gives those promotions an opportunity to promote themselves. And if they're a YouTube product still, go out there and increase their visibility and gain new followers, gain new subscribers. And in many ways, that's what the Global Backyard Wrestling Network was all those years ago. That's exactly what we're going to talk about next Tuesday night when Rick is here from Golden Triangle Media. When we're going to talk about what Rad has, what he did, also Copper Dragon, all those promotions that they did where 80 plus companies were involved in that. So if we're really going to go and just completely reaction, I know nothing about this. You talk to me off the air. We talk. I don't ask you your business. You came on here and we spoke about what we're going to talk about, but this is not even coming up. But I'm going to say it because I will say anything and I am unfiltered in this. I am 100% a full supporter and a full believer of any doors to be broken down. To me, what was done in the past, whoever it was, you want to come, you want to work together, let's do it. It's good for the fans. It's good for the talents, giving them new opportunities. It's good for the promotions. To me, that's what it should all be about. It should be at the end of the day, if somebody works in one place, if they want to go somewhere else, here's a handshake. Here's a hot dog. Go out there and do your best. Well, if we can work out maybe an agreement between whatever it is with the flight, the amenities, I don't know what those things are. That's between the promoters. But I'm a believer 1,000% that if there's a way to bridge underground companies or even backyard, whatever it might be you want to figure out, that's what we should be at the end of the day. Because let's be honest, we're all here to network. Right now, there's been throughout the entire show tonight, right? It's been an hour, 20 minutes. I have seen, I don't know, wrestlers from a dozen promotions tonight. I've seen yarders here. I've seen underground guys. I've seen guys that might be, like you said, blur the line between underground and independent. I got guys here tonight that were trained, some of them not trained. But everybody's here because they're getting a chance to see you and to exchange ideas and to exchange opportunities. You were invited to something about 15 minutes ago, the Backyard Havoc, right? And you saw all these wonderful promotions with these wonderful talents that are involved in giving people an opportunity to say, you know what? Maybe I want to see Chaotic in TBW against Justin Parsley, or maybe I want to see Omen Black against Big Man Cam, or whatever it might be, right? So to me, if you can do something where, okay, maybe Jake Dvorak can go wrestle in Resurrection Wrestling against D'Angelo the Flame again. They already got history. Or if you want to see Omen Black, maybe he wants to wrestle, I don't know, hardcore. Or if you want to see Rad Dad Radley Belmont against Justin Parsley, or whoever it is, I don't know. You could throw any name out there. Soldier GP, Justin Abel Say. You want to throw out Sean Jovi. Sean Jovi, who was the last vestige of the Global Backyard Wrestling Network. He was in it all those years ago. He could wrestle in this. So to me, Cameron Cage, you were in the Rumble with him. That would be another guy named Parv. So you use a lot of people. If you could have 70, 80, 90, and it doesn't have to just be those promotions. So if other people want to exchange that, by all means, whatever I could do, I'm more than happy to support. I'm happy to point people because people know me. I am somebody that 1,000%, I'll support anybody to anything. It doesn't even matter if you came on the platform, you didn't like what I said, you didn't like me, you didn't like the idea. I will help anybody because to me, it's not about me. This platform is born from open collaboration. As I said with Rad Dad yesterday, people are not here every night for me. Sure, they might want to poke fun and look at my mutton chops and long hair, but the facts are is that they're here because this is the only platform that they know, that they trust to give them an opportunity to go out there and work. Because you know what? If you don't mind me saying, now I'm going to get real for a second. Because sometimes there are promotions out there in the backyard, the underground, where they want to stay in their own fiefdom. And again, nothing wrong with that. I got nothing against anybody. You went out there and spent $2,000, $3,000, whatever, $4,000 or $5,000 in a ring. You are entitled to do whatever you want. But there are companies out there that they filter who they want to work with. They filter who they might want to have and who might want to see as their champion. Again, I got nothing against that. Everybody's entitled to do it. This is the United States of America. As a man like me who's been successful in life, relatively speaking, I totally get it. But I am 1,000%, though, at the end of the day, a full supporter of open collaborations. I am a full 1,000% supporter of bringing people together that would otherwise have only watched on a YouTube show or have only seen somebody in an Instagram post. By all means, if I can connect somebody, I know I'm taking your time up here for a second, but the facts are is that I got no skin in the game. I get nothing from it. I'm only about the people because the only reason I'm even relevant is because of everybody every night that wants to tune in to hear somebody else. They're not here for me. I know my job. Nobody is here for me. The people are here to see people like you and get a chance. You know what? Gabe Sayers. Yeah, I saw that guy in GTS. Yeah, I saw that guy in the Riot in the Ring. Yeah, I saw that guy in the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament. Yeah, I saw that guy on TikTok. Yeah, I saw him on Instagram. Yeah, I saw him as a streamer. That's what they're here for. They want a chance to work with you because the facts are is that sometimes in the backyard and the underground, there are promoters that, again, I got nothing wrong with that they have a style. They want to stick to it. They say one thing, but they're really not to it. But I'm not about that. This is all about bringing the people directly together, cutting out the middleman. So by all means, listen, you want me to do something, you want me to connect, you want to put me as a collaborator on Instagram, by all means, anything I can do, even if you didn't like me, even if you didn't come onto Sportswire, and you wanted me to support you, by all means, and I want to say one more thing before it's the microphone. Every wrestler that's come on this platform, they know. They go on somebody else's podcast, they work for somebody else's promoter, and they talk about all the negativity. They talk about all the toxicity to me. They talk about all the games. They talk about all the ways that they've been treated. But you guarantee, you better believe it, when you come here, I'm the only guy that I'll subscribe to your Patreon page. I'm the only guy that'll buy your shirt. Hell, I'm wearing a shirt right now. I'm the only guy that I'll talk with you. I'll share you, whatever I can do. Your own promotions don't do enough of that sometimes. Your own talent you work with don't do enough of that sometimes. But all means, I'm the guy, even if you don't like me. And I know that there are promoters that, from guys that you mentioned that they don't like me. And I'm okay with that because you know what? I got thick skin. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm used to a lot of things. But by all means, I am more than happy to do anything I can in my human power to connect not just all these promotions, but anybody else out there, anybody in the chat. So I'm an open book. I'm 1,000% supporting it. And anything I can do, please don't even hesitate.
I can't agree more. I think right now my vision withholds right now underground companies coming together, collaborating. And I'm not saying that we would exclude companies that are in the yard or that want to remain in the yard. But my vision right now sits upon companies that are strictly in the underground, transitioning to the underground, in the underground, transitioning to indie, the whole 9 yards that sit there. As much as I love true yard companies that just want to stay in the yard and they know their yard company and they want to stick in the yard. But right now, my target, my goal is to find companies that want to go pro, that want to be a professional product. Because at the end of the day, at least the way my passion is, as much as I love being in the yard and as much as I will continue to wrestle in the backyard whenever the hell I want, frankly,
Sure.
my goals, my ambition is to be able to make a living off this business. And it's very, very rare that someone can make a living off of a
Rad
business
Dad
in
was
the
talking
yard.
about that. I saw in one of his comments about one of the guys that went into GTS recently. Why I know very well. I mean, I know, for a lot of guys, people really, this is something you all want to do. I mean, that's why anything I could do, because, there's so many people. I see them in the chat, how much they put their blood, yourself included, the blood, sweat, and tears. You yourself have been quoted about what, hardcore wrestling isn't just quote unquote about putting your body through a table. It's about your belief and what you put into this sport. And that's why, to me, if there's any way possible that I could help somebody or just whatever, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, to me, I think that this is what we're here for. I think at the end of the day, people sometimes fire shots at people for what? For what? You fire shot to me, people talk about all these things, but I tell you this, you come on this platform, this is the only one that you're going to get a chance to hear people from different backgrounds. You go somewhere else, I challenge you. You go to any other promotion, I challenge you to get treated the way you get treated. I challenge you to go to anywhere else, and I challenge you to go find something where I don't support it, even if for whatever reason, I don't have 100% agreement with people on things. There's nobody that will say that in their heart with a gun put to their head that I don't do that. So by all means, whatever I can do. And you know what? If you want to go and get involved in this, you want to get involved in this idea, I'm going to make your life so easy because I do everything directly. Go out and follow Gabe Sayers. Go get his information. It's right here. I know we're going to talk a lot about this, but you know what? Probably not going to talk about it as much. I don't even know why I'm not following, but I'm following you right now because I just I don't know why that's the case, but that is his Instagram page. Go out there and get that button for him. Go hit the follow for me. Go out there and support him. That's his information. You want to get in touch with him. You want to check out all the things he's got up with when it comes to TF Crew, everything else in between. That's his information. And you want to find out more about this concept, he's all yours. Simple, and I'll certainly make sure that people get connected with that. Let me put to some comments here, and we'll come on to the remaining things of the show, because I'll keep you at a relatively key place. To JR Wrestling, just so this is public out, they've been waiting a long time for you, Joe. There can't be two kings. I don't know anything much about that, so I'm going to say I hope whatever works out. Also here, you want to get me off the tramp. It's commonly confused. I see. He's talking about Jake Dvorak. I don't wrestle on a trampoline, but if I get off your mom, maybe I could make it to NEW. I'm going to not go there with that. I love everybody's moms because obviously we wouldn't be born without moms. So I appreciate that very much.
My mom's dead.
Well, I'm so sorry about that, but I still appreciate everybody's mom, and your thoughts and prayers are out there. Yes, Gabe is going to be there. We just spoke about that. Yes, I'm going to bring you on soon, correct? I'm very excited about Jeff Nova and Leroy Robinson. Couldn't agree more.
Banger.
Hopefully, we won't need a lot of tarps for this one. I think he's talking about the rain and All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament. I can't wait. Aaron Blaze is in the house. He says hello. Aaron Blaze. Have you met Aaron Blaze before? Have you met him?
Never.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to keep that in mind because I think you and Aaron Blaze should cross paths one day. He's my buddy. Don't sleep on TF Crew. I never sleep on TF Crew. I'm always supporting TF Crew. I'm subscribed to the Patreon page. Chaotic heard the message. I'll take care of that off the air. Fully support that, Gabe. The more everyone's on the same page, 100%. That's what it should be about. It should be everybody on the same team. I don't understand why sometimes that was one of the things with Summer Bash. There was people that felt that this was that didn't want to work with that. That didn't want to work with that. But to me, I look at it as everybody should be on the same page. Anything I can do to connect with that, I'm all for that. And there's no disagreement with that. Yeah, Zilla's great. I appreciate that. Okay, I got the point. We'll see more from that. I got to ask you a couple things here before we move on to the end of the show. I have to get to the Resurrection Wrestling match with you and James Taylor and Anthony Steele. Because if I don't mention those two, because you wrestled them, I'm sure I'm going to hear that because I'm here every night. You are not. So I have to ask you. I mean, we saw it all kind of come. It took us forever to make that announcement here the day before the show, but you finally were a part of this whole thing with Anthony Steele and James Taylor. And the irony of that is all three of you now don't work in Resurrection Wrestling. I'm not even going there with that. But, I mean, so what was your experience in that match with James Taylor and Anthony Steele? And I guess anything else you want to say to it? It's rather fascinating, the whole thing was.
I'm going to spin it in a general direction first.
Okay.
I'm going to give you – listen, I'm always Gabe Sayers. We know that. But I'm gonna tell you how my whole experience with Resi was, and frankly, I had a lot of fun at Resi.
I like Resurrection a lot. I always have liked Resurrection a lot. They've always been very good with me on the platform.
I will say, obviously, and it's within every promotion has its kinks. Every promotion has its things that need to be worked on, and I'll be the first to admit it. TF Crew has some extensive things to work on. I'd be a hypocrite if I said something like that and wouldn't acknowledge my own flaws. TF Crew. The posting can get a little fucking wild where something comes out once a month, every 3 months, once a week. Like I can't get consistent with posting. People could say that the product is very what would the word be? I guess there's a lot of death match. Like there's a lot of things people could say about the TF Crew, and I'm always open to criticism. And there's pros and cons to every company we go to, but at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun at Resurrection Professional Wrestling. And that was something I really enjoyed about it. We're all everybody in this underground. We're all in the same boat. We're struggling for ticket sales. We're trying to be able to profit off this, and it's hard. Trust me, I get it. I'm in the same boat, man. It's not. I was very successful with TF Crew Death Row, and I was able to profit off the show. And we sold about 80-something tickets, which is fantastic. But to that same extent,
I bought one, by the way. I did buy one for these two shows. By the way. I have bought one.
And that was a great success, but at the same time, then now let's look at the North Haven Massacre. The North Haven Massacre sold 35-ish tickets. And it's not that I'm not grateful for selling 35 tickets.
And it was early in the year. You got to remember, these things go in waves. The weather was bad.
Yeah, very bad weather. The snow had fans miss the show, had wrestlers miss the show, had refs miss the show.
In January, you got to remember, people are like January's. In the Northeast is very depressing. It's just, I think that hurts you a little bit.
I agree. And even the fact that I look at the Backyard Bash, which was an event that was literally shut down in the middle of the event. That backyard was packed. We had a lot of heads in that backyard. But that event got shut down halfway through, and I lost $1,200 on it. You know what I mean? Wrestling is up and down, and there are pros and cons. But my time at Resurrection Professional Wrestling was an overall positive experience. The bar that we are wrestling at, this bar is actually one of the dopest bars I've ever fucking been to in my entire life. And I got to meet some really great people because Resi has some really great people in it.
They do. I've always said all the guys that have been on this platform over the past year, I couldn't say anything but positives, and I've always had a great relationship with everybody in Resurrection. I think that's, to me, always been the case.
D'Angelo Flame showed up in his car blasting my theme song.
Yeah, that's
Like
D'Angelo. I could see that. Yep.
Gage Flair, living up to listen. Like I said, I'm always Gage Flair. He's always Gage Flair. He sat me down at the bar, bought me about 6 beers and a cookie, and I was having a fucking dandy old time. Let me tell you. Yeah, I have to say, even where I stayed, you know what I mean? Everybody saw me come on Sportswire with Anthony Steele. Anthony Steele has an adorable dog. I love that dog.
Yes.
That dog is very fucking cute. And I had a great time. I get it. There's now drama and issues within that whole thing, but frankly, it's none of my business, so I don't
Same
have
here.
any reason to go into
I don't
it.
know anything about it, and I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the point of like I still had an overall really positive experience within Resurrection Pro Wrestling. And it's something that I would not mind doing again. Like I said, every company has its up and downs. It has,
Sure.
the quality could be better some places, maybe it's really great in some places. There's a lot of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Resi has some really passionate guys that I'd love to work with. I'll even name Cam Cage, that little shithead.
Oh,
Cam
I
Cage.
love Cameron Cage. He was here Tuesday night, and he talked about eliminating you in the Revenge Rumble. He talked about it. He wants, he said he definitely would love to have you come back, and he would love to, have a match with you this time. That's what he wants. He said he wants a match this time with you.
Cam Cage is a really hardworking guy, and
Yep.
I was able to see that. It was something that it caught me by surprise. I was in there drinking with Gage Flair at the bar. It's a great time, chilling with some of the guys behind the scenes, having a grand old time. That bar is fucking awesome, like I said. And then I realized they were breaking down the ring outside, so I actually went running outside. And I put down my food, I put down my beer, and pretty drunkenly was helping, break down the ring. But in that experience of breaking down the ring is I got to meet some of the RPW guys that I really hadn't gotten to have a conversation with at that point. And it was really great to see some of the hardest workers in RPW breaking down that ring that night where, a good half to 2/3 of the roster was, yes, inside drinking. But I chose to go out there and help break down the ring with some of the guys because, again, that's what professional wrestling is about. We all need to collaborate.
Yep, Brandon Castelli always talks about how the ring that tearing and setting it up is always a really, really big deal, and it does help bring people together. And he's here Tuesday night. He spoke about that, and I never forget him talking to me about that on and off the air. So I really appreciate that in that sense of wrestling.
Yeah, and I will say one thing. It's not a negative. It's not a knock to RPW. I think that there are so many great minds there. There are so many great, just hardworking people there. And it's just that we need to all work together. It was something as simple as breaking down a ring. It's not that we all need somebody's brain to break down a ring. It's just the act of everybody being out there, breaking down that ring is something that I'd really like to see. And that's there was some kind of outside yard guys that kind of pulled up to the show that really didn't help break down or put together the ring. And it's that then they wonder why they aren't getting pushed or booked in other places. And it's simply I think about my time at UWF when I first started there 2.5 years ago. The only reason they loved me was because I sat there and I broke down and built the ring religiously every time. Not by myself, obviously, but I would help set up, and I was religious with how hard I was working. And I was a terrible wrestler back then, but they were still booking me and giving me huge opportunities because of how hard I worked. And that's why I try to echo that same sentiment with people like Christopher Black, my prodigy, who is not a terrible wrestler like I was. The advantage Christopher Black has is he's actually really fucking good.
Yeah, I've been watching
fucking
some of his work in your company, and I'm really excited to have him on Sportswire. I'm excited about him.
He works his fucking ass off. And something I want to see in RPW is I want to see everybody get united there to create the best product possible. And that's something that I'm trying to do at TF Crew. So don't think that that's a shot. Being they're disorganized. I'm not saying that. It's something that I'm still working on with TF Crew is trying to get everybody united into creating the best product possible. I just see the reason I'm talking about this and I'm explaining it like this is I just see so much potential at RPW. And I really just want to see them hit that potential. And if, listen, I get it. It's hard to listen to me. And I say this all the time when people tell me, because listen, who the fuck wants to listen to the 21-year-old? I'm 21 years old. Who the fuck wants to
I think a lot of people tonight have listened to you. I mean, judging by the chat, they seem like they loved what you said tonight. At least as far as I.
But would I say that, I mean, in the aspect of wrestling and promoting, again, I'm the first to admit I'm not the most experienced, but I will say I truly believe in wrestling that I may not be the most physically fit at wrestling. Hey, listen, I'm the heaviest I've ever been right now. I'm 176 pounds. I've never been this heavy in my life. I'm religiously going to the gym. I'm eating a lot. I'm on high protein diet right now. I've never been in as good a shape as I am right now. My stamina is the best it's ever been.
You know why? Because you want it right now. And it shows to me in how far you've come. People wouldn't even realize that it was just a short few years ago. You were just a streamer and
Yep.
there was no thought of you being a wrestler. There's just
Hmm.
people, how far you've come, wrestling and doing what you've done in the UWF and
Right.
traveling to Tennessee, being a guy from Connecticut and everything you've done in pro wrestling Venom. I mean, Dirty Ron and what you've done with Santiago, Anarchy. I mean, you've only been in this a short time. Guys that are doing this 10, 15 years, I don't know if they have done what you've done because I think it shows the work ethic. You do this and the time you put in. I mean, people, this is why I support backyard underground wrestlers because
Mm.
people don't realize, the ones that want it, just how much time that they put into it. A lot of people say a lot of things about Steele and Taylor, but I back them religiously because I know how much time they put into coming here and talking to people and how much they just love wrestling. And that's what I'm about. And I think that that's why you're going to go very far one day and you continue you've had, because I just think that you evolve by the day. And I agree with you. I hope that companies like Resurrection continue to grow. I think there's no question there's definitely some tools there. They've had some great relationships in the past. TBW's in the chat. They've worked with them. Obviously, they've worked with D'Angelo the Flame with some companies. They were a part of Summer Bash, which obviously IMF, which did a fantastic job alongside DKW. And they've done great things, and I only hope for the best for everybody, and I hope that that happens in Resurrection. I just, it's up to them to figure it out, but I think there's definitely some building blocks, and
I I can't agree more. I think the biggest thing is people. We just need to get along. I think that people, we just need to work together. We need to get along. We need to push ourselves. We need to push each other to get to these points and to kind of finish on that point where I was saying I'm the 21-year-old that people don't typically want to listen to for advice. It's not half the time. It's not my advice that I'm echoing. It's not like I've been in the business so long that I've clearly developed my own thesis of what professional wrestling is. But even after someone like Dirty Ron kicked my ass at professional wrestling Venom, I sat there and I listened to him for hours on end because Dirty Ron McDonald makes a living off professional wrestling. That's a
oh,
goal that a lot of
he's a
us
big
have.
name for sure.
Promoter, comedy. I mean, he literally makes a lot of money just purely off promoting wrestling shows, and he makes a living off of that. That's something that so many of us want. And it's to the point of I have been so blessed to be around so many veterans. And the biggest thing I can say to people is people just need to listen. I've learned so much from Dirty Ron. I've learned so much from Mikey Anarchy. I've learned so much from Doc Holliday, from Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, so many of the vets at PAPW, so many of just the vets like Rad Dad that I sit and I listen, because even if you're listening to a funny story, there's always a lesson that you could be taught
But
from
that's
that
what you
story.
had, and I think that's why it shows. I know we're going to get to a few final things and let you go, but
Mhm.
there's no question that you've been around the right people. You've been around
Mhm.
people that Rad Dad said it last night, and he doesn't like riffraff. He wants to be around people that want to do the right things, want to do
Yep.
good things. And I think that you have had people around you that they have leadership skills and they have the success to back it up. Dirty Ron,
Right.
you've obviously seen a lot. Grimm has had massive amounts of success. Doc
Grim,
Holliday's a living legend.
Surge, Jake Matthews,
Jimmy
right?
Concord,
Dvorak.
Jake Dvorak, Justin Abel Sane. You mentioned the
Mhm.
Surge. I mean, D Savage, another guy who's come a long way in a short amount of time. You're
Yep.
around the right people. Eddie Exile to me is a guy that
Mhm.
has a good mindset. You're around. I believe in that positivity. I believe in putting yourself the equilibrium, the right. If you're in the right mindset, you can succeed. And I think that that's what your advice is to a lot of these different people that are here that
I
maybe
agree.
haven't seen you prior appearances, but they're seeing you now because it's, the platform's growing on YouTube a lot. And I think people like to see different things. I think that that's why you're going to go even further places. We'll see about Resurrection. Obviously, you've kind of mentioned them with the underground. Who knows what could happen? Obviously, James and Anthony, I'm going to leave that at that. I think that, we maybe love to see you wrestle them one day. Who knows where that'll be? And,
Mhm.
before I move on, where is the future next for you? Speaking of that, because, Anthony Steele apparently is now a part of the IMF. He announced that. And, Omen and Soldier, they called out James Taylor for Iowa, but he owns ROEW. So I really don't, that's up to James. I don't like putting words in people's mouths. But is there any other places you'd like to be in the future? Or, I mean, I know you're going to see you in Massachusetts. You talked about this idea you have. I mean, so maybe, who knows? Anything?
I've talked about this before. I've talked about this on the last podcast that I came on with you, and it actually did get me booked places. But it's the same thing, and I'm going to echo these sentiments. So when you do make the clip for Instagram and for
I
TikTok
will.
later, I want this to be one of the
All
clips
right,
at
you
least.
got it. Because I'm doing well on TikTok now,
All
bud.
right, you're starting to push some numbers. I peep that.
Yes, I saw that.
And my point is that if you want Cape Sayers on your show, I want to be on your show. All we have to do is make it work, but we have to make it work together. It's all collaboration. It's all us bringing each other up together. So, something like IMF, where we already have that line of communication, that's going to happen.
Oh,
So,
I mean that we love those guys.
yeah,
It's their platform here.
yeah, right.
They
This isn't really a shout for IMF because I already know IMF's going to happen sooner rather than later. But
yeah,
this is
they would
for
love to have you. I'm
this is
sure I
the,
can speak for them. They would love to
oh
have you.
yeah. This is for companies like TBW that has mentioned that they possibly want to see me. This is for companies like literally every other company that has talked about, oh yeah, it'd be cool for you to come down. And this ROEW, there's been a talk. Is listen, I get it. At this stage of my career, I
Well,
cannot
Backyard
do
Havoc, they've already invited you. They just went
right,
and said, we're inviting you. So I mean,
right.
they actually got it.
Yeah, I can't do free bookings anymore. Like I said, NEW is a family and is one of my families, so that is something I can do. But to the point when I say I can't do unpaid bookings, that doesn't mean that I want all your money to show up. I literally just want you to help me get there, and that to me, compensation is payment. So just like RPW that helped me get there, that compensation represented my payment. So if we worked out something at ROEW, we worked something out. ROEW is somewhere I really want to go. There's a lot of really fucking cool underground names
I
that I would
think
want to face down there.
ROEW is the one company that, I guess is sort of yard, but it's a high quality
Right,
product that it puts out. What they do is it's not a 4-hour book report. You're getting a
yep,
couple of matches, but they're building a story around it. They're
yep,
building a future to it. The talent that are there bring something to the table. And oh, by the way, people like Big Man Cam wrestle there.
right. So with ROEW, all it starts is with that line of communication where if we're like, all right, what if we
And
split a
James
flight?
Taylor's the owner of that. I mean, James Taylor, I
Right,
mean, he can make that happen, James Taylor.
right. What if we're like, hey, let's split a flight? Hey, maybe I'll cover your flight. Oh yeah, listen, I'll let you crash. It's a collaboration of, oh, this guy's like, oh, he can crash my couch. Oh, I'll help pay for this part of the flight. I'll help pay another part of the flight. I'm like, hey, I'll pay a hunk of the flight. You know what I mean? Getting that collaboration to get people places is just how we have to do it in this modern day and age. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to say I have a specific rate because frankly, I don't have a specific rate and I
But
don't
yeah,
want a specific
I
rate.
don't do that live on the air. I mean, you have been
Yeah,
trained. But I think somebody asked Rad Dad yesterday, well, what's your fee? I'm like, I'll take care of that. He's not going to tell you on the air. So yeah, you don't tell your people what, on the air
right.
what you're charging because you don't know. I mean, it's not
A,
people's business right here.
a popular rapper once said it's something along the lines of the Childish Gambino quote of the point if you were paid for a job, you don't have to wonder how much your value is because that is your value. That's why I don't set a rate. I don't talk about rates. I'm not like I want a 30, I want a 50, I want a 100. I just want compensation to help me. And all my compensation is helping me do is get to these places to expand my wrestling knowledge, to meet more people, to be able to have these talks with people where there are moments where, yes, I think I have really good advice for people. Like, I think I have a lot of really good advice for Resi that Resi could really use. I think some of the guys at Resi have a lot of really good advice that I could use. Wrestling is
Yes.
all about listening. Wrestling is all about speaking in the right moments when you have something to teach, and it's all about that teaching. So I want to see this entire community get uplifted together, and it takes two to tango. So we have to do that
I'm
together.
glad
That's
you
why,
said that because really, as we're here for about another 10 or 15 more minutes with Gabe says, he's a very busy man. We appreciate his time. Please hit the sub button for him. YouTube. That's why I really also said over the last month or two that on Sportswire, I'm not getting into business of, firing shots at people. Eddie Exile had a great speech where he talked about you want to be happy, you want to do your thing, go for it. You want to, Alan Michaels of TBW talked about, I'm tired of the dirty laundry. I'm tired of people wanting to do things for more views. I'm not getting in the middle of storylines. I'm not getting in the middle of anybody's promotion, who wins, even with the PWF, owning 1/3 of it. All I ask for is let me share the YouTube link and I can share on Facebook. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not pretending to be. I'm not Tony Khan, not Vince McMahon. I don't want to. No, I'll be honest. I don't want that because to me, it's about other people. I have had my fun in life. I have had my success. I'm here to bring people together. We're not going on, people say I should bring this person on to make fun of them or come. No, we're not doing that anymore. I'm even supporting trampoline wrestlers. I know people give me flack for it, but I am bringing trampoline wrestlers are here. We have guys on the ground. I'm not saying they should be there for the next 50 years, but you better believe I'm all Wrestling Matters. I'm here to support people. People know that they come here and it means something. I have people message me from all over the place. I know I disappoint people. I apologize. I only have so much time in a day, but I'm not in the middle of that. There's no drama here. You want to speak, you want a chance to connect people. That's what I'm about. Nothing else. I'm not getting involved in wrestling in a ring. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not getting involved in storyline purposes. Not going to happen. I'm not getting involved in anything other than pointing people in directions. And that's why I want to point you out there in the audience to go and please hit that sub button for our friends in the TF crew. They're almost at 21 subscribers. Let's help them get there. Before I get to final thoughts, I know UWF, you've been at GTS. Anything else you want to say about those places before we sign off for the evening?
Before we wrap off, my time at UWF lately has been a ton of fun. I still hate their audience. I think they can all kiss my ass and suck my dick at
We've had
UWF.
some good shows though, by the way. Live band has been playing. They've had like a lot of really unique. The promoters shared some of my clips on Instagram, so they're catching my interest for sure.
I'll tease something. TF Crew and UWF would do something really fun together, and there could be something within that for the future. So, as much as I hate that audience down there in Philly, UWF is still a ton of fun. I still go out there and I face some of the craziest opponents of my life there, and I cannot wait to continue growing and expanding with UWF. And like I said, my ultimate goal in professional wrestling is to become the UWF Underground Champion one day. That is my number one goal in professional wrestling. It's not to make it the WWE, not to make the AEW. It's to become the Underground Champion at UWF.
Wow.
Because to me, that is what it's all about. I've been working literally working for 2+ years now to achieve that goal. And it all started when I saw that title, when I showed up to the first show I ever went to for UWF. Showed up there to take photos and to help out as Mikey Anarchy's friend. And that's when I started busting my ass, and that's why they kept bringing me back. That's why they helped train me. And it all accumulates with that UWF Underground Championship. So that's my number one goal in professional wrestling, and that's something I feel like I need to do before I retire. Spinning at the GTS, the fans are a little nicer to me there, so I have nicer things to say about their fans. GTS is a fucking awesome opportunity, and I appreciate Grim for being so understanding about me going to college. Obviously he has, made it known that he wants me there more, and I truly appreciate that sentiment, and I want to be there more. It's just I got to figure out the college
is
thing.
Important, and thank him. I know some people say different things, but actually, thank you, Grim, for doing that, because people do need to go to school. I mean, people do need to go out there and get a good job, have a good life. We want, obviously, people to make a career out of this, but thank you, Grim, for doing that. And I wish that every promoter and other people out there would set that example, because Gabe was a huge part of his storylines and was a top guy in a short amount of time. But he said, go to school, go out there and get an education. And I think that's the greatest advice for anybody out there. And I thank him for saying that, to be honest.
Yeah. So, the fans treat me great there. My last match there for the hardcore title, I really enjoyed that clusterfuck scramble, honestly. Yep. And I had a ton of fun there. So I can't wait to be back there. Venom, fuck stupid clown. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. I definitely, I've gotten some of that. I definitely see that. And yes, we're excited about UWF. Obviously Eddie's been here, and I mean, Justin and Jake wrestled each other in UWF, and they've just raved about the environment. I know we spoke a lot about it here. Hardcore has been a huge part of it. I know Jimmy's been here a bunch of times. So a lot of great stuff. Please support our friends there. And, again, just also for the US, before we get to closing thoughts, please follow TF Crew. You're going to see Unhinged coming out soon. Death Row is out. It's almost at 700 views already. Also, Gabe has announced that he's trying to come up with an idea of an open kind of partnership with different companies in the underground. Could be IMF, could be NEW, could be Resurrection, could be UWF, whoever it could be. Definitely stay tuned for more details on that. I'm happy to share and help in any way I can. Gabe has also talked about where he'd like to be in the future. Stay tuned for all of that, and we look forward to it. I could talk with you for hours, but I think it's time to pass the baton to you, give you some closing thoughts, and anything else you want to plug for us, I take it away and let you have it.
I just want to thank you again for the platform to be able to speak about this. Having this open forum and platform is truly a blessing, and it's something that the community needed. So I'm so happy that you're
No,
bringing
I
the community
appreciate that.
together.
People are saying that a lot. I know Rad talked about how very appreciative he was of it. And, people have said off the air, even the little guys, some would say the trampoliners. And sometimes people tell me, you're giving them a floor. But I do believe, and everybody should get a shot, because I think that's what you've really seen, I think, in the last month or two. I think it's been a more diverse platform because we're giving guys a chance that maybe they wouldn't have got a chance. And I believe in that. I'm always a believer in the underdog. And we have a lot of new people. I think Joe Starr is an example of a guy I'm really excited to have on. And I think that that's really something that I believe in. I believe in that openness. And, I appreciate your kind words on that.
Yeah, of course. And I'm excited to see the rest of the comments with this. I'm truly blessed to be part of it. The thing I'm starting with the TF Crew podcast has been definitely inspired by Sportswire.
I appreciate
and
that.
I want to have a similar sentiment when I'm doing the TF Crew podcast.
Oh, you'll do way. Listen, I told you, if you want to take over Sportswire, you'll get a lot more views. You're starting off with 900 subscribers, just about. I mean, you could take over. You're well spoken. You've got the background. I mean, listen, by all means. I mean, you take over. You'll get all the big. They'll all come over to you. Forget about it. They don't want. I'm tired. I'm retiring. It's time. I'm gonna go sit in the beach somewhere. You take over.
You got another 5 years in the tank. You can't.
The guys in IMF, they want me here for 50. I don't know if I got 50 years in me. I don't know.
I will say, at the bare minimum, for how much time you have to at least run Sportswire until I get my second open heart surgery. So that's a bare minimum right there.
Well, I mean, there are people that tell me I've been here like 117 consecutive days with 167 shows or some number. People are just like well, it means a lot to people. I mean, James Taylor was saying, he's been growing. People are telling me, or I had people say they're praying for me to get to 1,000 subscribers. I had people that they were praying for me. I'm like, oh, you have to pray for me. Just go support these wrestling promotions. Buy their merchandise. Give them a sub. But I mean, I really want to be here. I'm very fortunate that I have the time and ability to do this, but I believe in it. I believe in all our wrestlers, and I believe in what we've created, the Sportswire Hall of Fame. I believe in supporting all our shows, buying a ticket to your next show when that takes place. Obviously, you have my support on that Patreon. You have my support monthly for that, and that's what I'm here for. And if I can connect people, that's what it's about. And I really want people to follow Gabe on Instagram and check out all the great stuff he has coming up. September the 21st, you're going to see him. I'm sure you're going to see him in places coming up. Also, next weekend is the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament. You're going to see him in action in that first run against Drew Dini. More stuff to follow on that. We'll see what happens after Death Row and where we go from there. Mr. Dvorak was mentioned, and we'll see him in Pro Wrestling Venom, UWF, other places to remain to be seen, whether that's elsewhere, and also this open partnership there. That's definitely count me in for. You got my support, whatever I can do. And, thank you for all that you do for us. I could keep you here longer, but it's time to let you move on because, well, you've had enough. And I think the people have basically said that thank you anyway, because they're starting to get tired. So they've had enough. I think Rad was here 2.5. Rad was here 2.5 hours yesterday. We had Steel and Parsley for 3 hours. I think that's time for them. They've said, okay, we're past the baton. So I got that. I'll be here tomorrow. You can take a break. I'll be here every other day. But congratulations on all this. I'm really excited about what you're going to do in the future. Please let me know anything I can do on that partnership. And looking forward to seeing you, obviously, these next 2 weekends coming up in the ring. And congratulations on Death Row.
Thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
You got it. That was Gabe Sayers. He is the owner of the TF Crew. You've also seen him in great places such as Pro Wrestling Venom, NEW. You've seen him in UWF, GTS. You've also going to see him in the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament and his own company as well. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally with All Wrestling Matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you go back to your regularly scheduled programming. I'll be back here at 10 o'clock Eastern time right after SmackDown. I'm going to talk about what happened. I'm going to talk about AEW. And then I'm going to talk about, football for a little bit as well. People might want to get their picks in. And I'll be back here 2 times Saturday. Joe Starr after NEW season finale 5. I'll hear Chris Jones on here of XCW, who wrestled tentatively his last match against Justin Parsley, a man that was talked about a little bit about going to traveling places. Ask Jake Dvorak about that. I'll say nothing else on the air. And Gabe also talked about a partnership on the works that he has for. So thank you to everybody for all of that. If you're here one more time, TF Crew sub on YouTube, go hit the sub button for them. When they hit 2,100, I will print out a certificate for Gabe. Also, please follow us Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm almost at 900 subs. Help me get there so people don't have to pray for me anymore. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.